Hi, everybody. Welcome to Trash Talk. Myself and my awesome host, there, Big
Oh,
Red.
there you go.
Oh,
Let me
yeah,
go
there
this way.
you go. See, I
Medusa.
had it correct.
I'm directionally challenged. Hold on. There we
Oh,
go.
oh, do we
I've
need to
got the
start?
shirt. MAD
At least
USA.
you have the shirt. Look at that. MAD USA, baby.
Made in the USA.
Made in the
Available
USA.
at
What?
Medusa.com, OneTrueSport.com. I'm handling the business side of this. Now, Medusa, would you like to tell your audience why we have a pop-up
A
trash talk
pop-up?
today? Yeah, we
I
didn't plan
know.
this. You text me yesterday.
I know, it's like those last minute things, and we seem to do very well on those, and especially when they're, hot topics, and you love hot topics. I mean, it could be
Mhm.
about, it could be about wrestling, it could be about, underwater basket weaving, it could be about anything. So, and it excites you when I text you when you're at work and you have 10,000 things to do and you're like, I really can't right now, but I'll talk to you later, blah, blah, blah. That's a great idea. And then you start texting me again, and then it's fucking all over. But anyway, yes.
Correct.
So
Correct.
in the last couple days, I have found it. I have an interesting, uh, well, thought, because I've got some shit back playing in my ear right here that needs to be shut off on my other thing over here. I know y'all don't know what I'm talking about, but hold on one second. Okay. So, okay. Okay. All right. Here we go. Sorry, I had some stuff in my ear and there was some feedback going on just now, so I'm going to start again. So when I text Big Red, I said, I really think we need to do a podcast about this. And I see that there's a lot of emotions going on. It's a hot topic, a hot button. It's uncomfortable for a lot of people. I wanted to bring a platform to everyone to speak freely and honestly and put your emotions out there, put your thoughts, put your facts, and please do not disrespect people's beliefs. They're here for open discussions, and your opinion is your opinion, and facts are facts. And I have a lot of friends that I highly, highly respect that we're going to speak about. There's some that I like, and there's some that I just choose not to, probably have conversations with, but that is my choice. Um, so what this topic is all about is I find it very interesting that we are in this um we're at towards the end of the year and it's election year. And I find it so fun. And as some people say, yes, let's put the fun back in politics, right? And that's how you can go into this. I find it educating. I learn stuff all the time. I'm always searching and doing my diligence. I have a great producer that has double bachelor's and master's in this field to help me research and understand. I have a whole team behind us, fact checking, finding the differences and trying to find the even points in our conversation to come. Our conversation is about a couple interviews, a couple podcasts, a couple tweets, a couple posts. And a lot has to do with, I find very interesting, is that it's been about their views and their feelings with people I've worked with in the pro wrestling business. And it's bigger than life, and it's about supporting their party, but also like this one person that everyone likes or dislikes is like the biggest topic on everything. So I find it interesting, and I want to bring it to an even playing field for everybody to communicate with, and let it be free. Let it be it could get heated, but we've got it under control. Bullying will not be allowed, and no attacking. If you got facts, you put it out there, do what you want to do, because that's what we're about, because we want to find understanding and truth. I am just so excited to have Red here because he's got some unbelievable facts and he knows his shit. And I will put it that way, his red shit. I can't say much about his hair, but his hair is a little more on point tonight. So I got to give him that. Ding ding.
Usually,
Um,
yeah,
and number
yeah.
2, 2 points for Red. He's got my t-shirt on.
MAD USA,
Made in the USA.
OneTrueSport.com.
Oh,
I
so
handle the business side. That's why I said I'll do the plugs. You do the politics. We're good.
okay. Oh yeah, right,
What
right.
kind of tariff are we going to have on these shirts if the Donald is elected? That's what I want to know.
Oh, right? If the Donald is elected, oh my god, look at this one,
I mean,
right?
because they're not made in America. I'm sorry, they're just not.
This was.
This
I
is
watched her
not.
do it. Oh, that was I had no control over that one. They just said, "Hey, Deuce, do you like this?" And I'm like,
Yeah,
"Okay."
yeah. And if, as a reminder, it says, "Nice to meet you. Don't fuck with me." So
Yeah,
there you
so
go.
that
That's on the
it's
back.
okay. It's an American saying, but I guess China made. I don't know.
Yeah,
And
China.
that's my point. I want to bring jobs back to America.
Yeah. And we're gonna do it with tariffs. Somehow that works. Anyway, I don't
Oh,
want to jump the
don't even
shark.
skip over that bullshit. We can't go straight to, "Oh, well, tariffs."
I
You
don't want
know,
to. I say I didn't want to jump the shark. I'm
uh,
just,
oh,
but
tariffs, interesting. That's a subject. Yes.
because of my education and my vocation now, what I do for a living is
Ah.
a general sales manager of a car dealership. I absolutely am 100% opposed.
Are they made in China?
Oh, they're made everywhere. I am. They're not actually. We don't actually sell any Chinese cars though. That is legitimate.
Really?
Mexican, Canadian, Japanese, but not the Chinese cars don't pass the inspections coming in over the into the country. But I am opposed to anything that interferes with free market enterprise.
Oh.
Tariffs, by their nature,
Mm.
interfere with free market enterprise, and along with the Bull Moose Party, cost William Taft the election in 1912. So there
Really?
you go.
1912.
Hmm.
Is that is really? So they have
Yes,
documentation of that in 1912.
that the tariffs, that his proposal
He's
of tariffs
okay.
actually cost him the election because he was a Republican. And he
Whoa.
split with Teddy Roosevelt because he was
So,
Roosevelt's
yes,
vice
with
president.
Teddy Roosevelt. And
Mhm.
so fast forward, we're just gonna kinda skip into it, but we're gonna get to the main thing since we're right there in tariffs. So why and we'll get back to it. So why do you think Trump thinks that is such a great idea if that failed? I think he has proof if my fact checkers can find it why tariffs have worked, haven't worked, will work, or why you think Red they still won't.
I don't think they'll work because we are beyond we are no longer a country that makes anything. We don't produce
Oh,
anything. We
well,
are a
that's what
nation
we're trying to do.
we are a nation of consumers, and I understand that
Mhm.
politically, tariffs can be used as a weapon. They obviously can be
Yes,
used for political leverage and in order to get done what you want when you go to the negotiating table. On the other hand, charging tariffs may actually make things more expensive because then that cost of
it
goods is
could.
going to get passed on to a consumer. They're not going to eat it, being the business that pays the tariff is not going to simply eat that. They're not writing it off as a cost of doing business. They're not willing to assume the loss.
So they're gonna
So
have to get it somewhere, so it
they get
actually
it
goes back
somewhere.
to the consumer. So
Correct.
so let's find
At least
out
that's my
labor.
position. My position.
Right, right. So I think that's how people were feeling how Trump would do, probably work the program, let's say. And let's find a way on why and how, what his rebuttal on that, how he feels, because I heard him say that he would not make the people pay for it. I want to know
Right.
how. How?
I do
How?
too.
How
Genuinely.
the hell could
Genuinely.
he do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. And the idea that I believe, and your team can check it. I believe I either saw it on Twitter or on the news, and both of them are suspect these days.
Yeah.
That he was also saying that that's a way that we could pay off the national debt, which right now is $35 trillion and climbing, and
No,
nobody.
it could be 35 trillion with the 9 bi okay, we're gonna get into it because I have that note, but go ahead, yes?
All my point is, it's 30 plus $1 trillion. There isn't a person on this planet that has a concept of what $30 trillion looks like. If you were to put
There's no way
$100
we're ever
bills
gonna get.
in a place, you could not conceptualize what $30 trillion looks like. My question is that if it's supposed to be able to balance a budget and offset the debt, that's a lot of tariffs. That's a lot of money. How are we going to accomplish it?
I
And I'm
think he's
asking a question. I'm not providing an
yes.
answer. I just want to know. I want to know how
Yeah,
are we going to do it?
I don't think I hope he didn't mean, or I don't know, I don't think tariffs could actually pay that off in his 4-year tenure. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
no.
okay, we're going to get back to it because that's a huge subject. Okay, so what brought us here is I was scrolling just, and all of a sudden I see people coming out. Like you see Hulk Hogan at Trump's rallies, right? You see
Oh, hold
Taker.
on. He
Well,
wasn't
I
at the
know
rally. He was at the
he was at the
Republican
PAC.
National
Yes, that's
Convention,
right. That's
and he
right. Okay.
rips his shirt off and says, "What you gonna do
What
with
you gonna
Trump
do,
made?" Yeah,
brother?
I mean that was dumb. Terry, go retire down there in Florida. No
Okay.
offense, Deuce. I know you live there, but someone tell
Whatever.
Terry to go to the beach shop if it's still standing because they did
It
have two
is.
hurricanes. So
Okay. All right. See, okay, so you can say stuff like that, but when we say people need to be jailed, oh my God, we're a crook. Okay.
it
So,
was
okay,
such a stunt, though. Come on now. I didn't mean
wait a
to
minute.
even interrupt your chain of thought.
Says the producer that absolutely loves fucking wrestling, and you're saying, oh, you're getting onto a guy it's a work. You're a
Yeah.
fucking living mark work,
Second
dude.
most important person in professional wrestling, his third, I guess. Terry Bollea. Yeah.
Okay. He gets paid for doing his shtick. You and I are still trying to work towards that. So let's don't kill that. Woo! Okay. So what got me to this, and I just feel so good about it because I have good people around me, is that I saw these people, and then I saw um uh what's his name with the racket? Gosh darn it.
Jim Cornette.
Jim Cornette. I love Jimmy. So I saw Jim Cornette's comment and about Trump. Hey, he's a Trump lover. Oh, he's gonna kill me. Just kidding, Jimmy. And so I saw that and I thought that was interesting. Then I saw Taker's interview with Trump recently on YouTube. And then I
Yep.
saw Hogan. And then lately I saw Mick Foley on Instagram. And then I see a few others slowly coming out speaking freely about, like Tatanka. I saw some of his supportiveness and for people and, other people for Harris and Biden and whatever. So I'm like, okay, this is really cool. 4 years ago, people were scared shitless to talk about any party, right? Who they were scared to put on a bumper sticker because they might get shot, they might get this or that, or it was horrible 4 years ago about political beliefs and speaking about them. People were very stifled, let's say, and just they were censored. There was a lot of things going on that changed this world and where it's at within the last 5, 6, 7 years, let's say. All right. So to put the blame game on one president is totally wrong. It takes years of multiplying to get to where we're at on decision making. So my question to you, producer,
Mhm.
is you agree, it doesn't take one president in 4 years or 8 years to make a total disaster of the country of where it's at today. It's a continuous domino effect, right? And do you agree? It's not just that.
Sh-
It's a
Short,
combination.
short answer, yes.
Okay,
If
thank
you
you.
want to, if you're asking a close-ended
Yeah,
question,
just a
yes.
short answer so I can
Short
get
answer,
on.
yes.
Yeah. So to answer that, you're yes. I'm so glad you said yes, because if you look at it, we basically had a Democratic president mostly for the last you know, for a while. But that or Republican presidents that were rhinos and no good. And that was swaying whatever and just basically polluted people's minds. You just couldn't even understand half of the political movement ever. Except for what you totally believed in, what you wanted to believe in, what you read, what your facts were. And so here we are today. Everything is just a fucking mess, I feel. But I do feel that there is a momentum. There is a momentum of people coming together that are strong. It doesn't matter. It could be on both parties or both parties. I'm going to ask everybody out there, do you feel that both parties are starting to work together, or we're not there yet? So that's why I'm here, because I brought him in because of his background of politics and him able to put a few things to rest by knowledge, by facts, and a lot of people out there are going to have questions. And I'd love to have. We have our fact checkers in back, and other people
Mhm.
involved out there. Everybody out there, all of you are equal to comment. Please don't heckle anyone. If you don't believe in what they're saying, just say, I have this check. Please check this. Blah blah blah. So how do you feel about a conversation like this, Red? Is it uncomfortable to you, or do you think I think it's honest. I think it's very telling of where we're at nowadays.
Okay, 2 things. Number 1, my grandmother used to be one of the leaders of the Iowa Democratic Party and
Mhm.
was a delegate to the 1976 presidential election for Jimmy
I
Carter.
remember you telling me this. I was like, "Wow." It
Yeah,
was
she's a
so
very
cool.
powerful woman inside of Iowa politics
Mm.
and, raised us to be politically responsible, meaning voting, pay attention, that sort of stuff. That's how my family's been raised. We were also raised not to shy away from conversation. The problem is social media and the weaponization of it have made people it's made it very difficult for people to have a conversation. As long as I have very different views than a lot of people, but as long as the conversation remains civil and
Mm.
it remains a conversation and not a fuck you thing,
Yeah,
I have no problem sitting down and talking politics with people.
I love
The
it.
same
Yeah.
the same woman that told us to be politically minded also said you never talk politics in public. But that is certainly not the case in 2024. There is nothing more public these days than what is going on and what will happen in 13 days. We're gonna
Mhm.
have a new president-elect of the United States one way or the other, because it's
Yes.
not gonna be Joe Biden. Um,
How do you feel
this
about that first? Do you feel that his his party just kinda shoved him out?
so
Honestly.
this is how I feel about that, and I don't and when we can have our fact checkers check me, I
Yes.
have no record in my mind, and political history was my concentration for one of my degrees. No record in my mind of when this has ever happened. Lyndon Baines Johnson stepped down March 4th, '68, following
Mhm.
the Tet Offensive and the failed Vietnam crisis, chose not to run for the Democratic Party. But
For the Vietnam
yeah,
crisis.
because of
Yes.
Vietnam, yeah.
Yes.
But
For Vietnam. Yes.
happened well, as much as anything, he had a lot going on in '68. But,
Mhm.
and I don't wanna oversimplify it and get hated on later, but
No, no.
that was the catalyst for his decision.
Mhm.
But that was still 8 months before someone was elected president, and in that case, Richard Nixon. Um, I think, I believe, I feel Kamala Harris has no business running for president of the United States. She was appointed and anointed. She was not, elected. There are people that say, "Well, Andrew, she received or votes, to be the nominee." No, she didn't.
Within her, no, not.
As the vice president, yes, but as the president of the United States, she did not. And inside of 72 hours, they replaced Joe Biden as fast as the University of Alabama replaced Nick Saban. So, um, I find that very hard to believe. And Nancy Pelosi came out during the Democratic National Convention, it's on video, and said as much, that she did what was right for the party. Um, that she did what was right for the party, and it wasn't about what was right for Joe Biden. So when
Mhm.
you have a leader of your party saying that she can unilaterally or with an oligarch of some kind, remove the sitting president
Yeah.
of the United States.
Mhm.
For me, that's an issue. I don't believe Kamala Harris has any right to be running for president of the United States. That being
But
said, she's running for
on her
president of the
defense,
United States.
right, on her defense, though, who were they gonna put in her place? Because they knew we saw this rising up. Let's backtrack. So, Nancy Pelosi, back when Trump was president, softly forced not forced, I'm not using these words correctly, but, they passed a bill where if they feel the president is incompetent to be president, they can pull him at any point. I'll never forget that because right away I thought, "Oh my god, this." I everyone thought it was going to be for them to do that to Trump because to find him, not fit to be president while he was going to be president, blah blah blah. I right away said, I said, "This is not for Trump. This is for their own party," and I couldn't understand what the hell was going on. This was before Biden was even I said, this is a plan." I turned to my husband, I said, "This isn't for Trump. They're putting this in place for future so they can have something to Here we are, fast forward, exactly what you said, and I thought this was kinda I can't find I don't know what that bill is called. Maybe the one of the fact checkers can tell me what it is, but it's when they passed that bill, and I was like, "Oh my god." So that's exactly what they did. They were able to remove him, or they say that he didn't he say he elected to choose to set aside himself? Is that right?
Yeah, yeah, he
Yeah,
came out and
okay.
gave he did the job for the party, as they would say in
Okay.
wrestling. He did the
Yep.
job.
He did that job.
He did the job.
It's
But,
what is it called? Hold on one second, Red. What? 25th Amendment. Thank you. Yes,
yeah,
25th.
25th Amendment was passed as a means of succession, and that was actually done back in the '70s.
But there
Um,
was something new that Pelosi passed on that to you can actually remove a president, a sitting president, if they're cognitively not there.
yeah, the
So
25th Amendment.
that proved to me is that I thought that was kinda, ugh, and then when I
Teach
saw Mr. Biden or, in as president and he started having difficulties, I thought, here it is. This is exactly what they saw it back then. They knew they were going to push the issue just in case it progressed. This is just me thinking, guys. I'm not saying this is facts. I'm not saying anything. This is just how I see things. I see things way ahead. And so I'm thinking, well, this has got to be a plan. I don't know. It's just my bullshit thinking. And sure enough, here we are. Fast forward. I'm just saying that's not how it happened, but that was just my thinking. Okay. You're welcome.
Yeah, she
So
couldn't,
I
well,
don't know.
the thing is, I don't know that I mean, I've got my own again, I've got some pretty radical views on this, but the 25th Amendment is for the secession of power. It's 1965. They had no plan to 25th Amendment him, and they probably should have.
Okay.
If the
Yeah.
man is not capable to run for president for a second term, he's not capable to run the country. Here's the
Okay, let
problem.
me ask you an honest thing. Why didn't they then to save face, that poor man?
'Cause then she's an incumbent.
Oh,
She's sitting in office. It makes it
yes.
a lot
Yep.
easier to attack her. There's not
Yep.
the ability to divorce herself from Biden and saying, "While I was in his administration, I wasn't ultimately the decision maker. I only had certain influence over certain things." But
Yes.
she can't even get that statement I just made as somebody with a political science degree out of her mouth. Instead, what would you do differently in the Joe Biden administration? "Oh, I don't think I'd do anything differently." Well, I mean, and then she can't answer a very basic question.
Right.
She's not
Doesn't that
prepared to be president of the United States, and she has no right to be sitting atop of the ticket.
I
And
I
before anybody gets all fired up over here on the chat side, I wanna get this out, Medusa. I will not be voting for either of them, and I am definitely not a Trump person, and we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, let me tell you,
Mhm.
he's not a Trump fan, guys.
Not a Trump fan.
But this has got to be one of the most honest guys, and I love Red because he'll tell you if you it might piss you off either way on either party, but he's going to tell you the factual facts, and this is why I have such great conversations with this man because it's not like oh bullshit you can't you just don't see it that way. I just hate those conversations. I like well then what do you have? You
Mhm.
should tell me where is it?
Yeah.
Stop erasing history and let's see the real truth. Damn it. Um. Okay. So again. So we got off on that tangent on Biden, which we're gonna
Sorry,
continue
my
to do.
bad.
You and I have we have one of the best degrees ever, and we didn't even have to go to college for it. It's our degree of ADHAD, elemental
Correct.
PQ. And you got 2 people together. Okay, so let me circle back. So, so in these conversations, I found it very interesting, and with every person speaking, with the takers and all of them out there. I these men I've worked with, and I hold them in my heart in ways that because of this business, and respect them with this business very much so. But I do not dislike any of these individuals for their political views. I may not agree. I may agree. We may disagree to agree, but then again, some of them may not speak to you just because you may be voting for someone. And I think that's dangerous. I love having conversations like this.
Mm.
Um, so let's talk about now. I gave you a few things to look at and listen to. First was the
Mhm.
Taker interview. There was with Trump, and there was uh, a couple of the comments that you sent me in pictures. We're going to go over those. We had lately Mick Foley's very vocal. And so there's a lot of wrestlers that are actually coming out that are speaking up. And I think it's awesome. But again, it's just like any of us saying to the actors, "Oh, keep your mouth shut and stick to acting." Now, a lot of them are saying, "Keep your mouth shut and stick to wrestling," right? So what goes around comes around, guys. And so I don't like anybody telling me what to do or who to vote for. I just want to hear everybody's side so I can make my own choice, right? With my own facts and stuff. So let me ask you, you got to see all of the blurbs out there. We're going to post each one and let's talk about each one. So let's get into the depth of, let's talk about, which one do you want to talk about first?
We can start with the interview, or we can start with the TikTok, or we can start with Batista. Um,
Ooh, that's another good. Well, see, a lot of those can follow in because a lot of them call each other out, which I
mhm.
think a lot of it is brotherhood still. Now, I don't know. I think all of us could have, I think we should have war games, all of us together. Get it? We'll have a political war game about all this, and all of us can get in the ring and have a royal rumble over politics or
I would
something,
say
right?
you're gonna climb the cage
I will I
in the
will.
hills
I'll bring
again.
Haman. I'll bring
Mm,
Haman.
yeah. I wonder
And,
where he's voting.
hmm,
Scarsdale, New York.
whatever. You can't just because of where someone lives. You're such a hypocrite. Just because
Why
he
would
lives in New York.
Well, I live in North Carolina. This is one thing I will say is if you live in a swing state like I do, God bless you, because I can't even watch football. I can't even watch Deuce's
Go Vikings!
beloved Vikings take the L this past weekend without seeing 87 political ads. That's all. That's all I'm saying. It's terrible.
Oh, okay.
They
So,
did take the L, unfortunately for you. But
oh God. Let me tell you,
Lions are a good football team.
they are, but so are the Vikings. Are you telling me the Vikings aren't a good team?
No, I'm saying that they're probably going to have 3 NFC North
Mhm.
teams in the playoffs
Okay, I
if
see where
things
you're
keep
going.
going the way they're going.
Well,
But
someone's gonna have to do the job.
that has nothing to do with Trump. Well, why don't we start here?
Wait a minute.
Donald Trump gave the Undertaker
Hmm.
1 hour of his time,
Yeah,
and on the video they said it was 19 days out from the election, so this was obviously recorded a few days ago.
few days ago.
19 days inside of 3 weeks, a presidential nominee is giving a former professional wrestler an hour of his time on a podcast.
That's
His
insane.
his vice president went on Theo Rossi,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
he will be Trump, he being Trump, pronouns pal, as Vince would say. Trump is going to be on Joe Rogan Experience.
That's huge though. Yeah.
So these guys are giving time to pop culture is what I'm getting at. It's not NBC, it's not CNN, it's not Newsmax, it's not Fox, it's not whoever. They're giving time to pop culture because they understand their
That's where it's
voters
at.
their voters consume YouTube, consume Joe Rogan, consume The Undertaker, and anybody else. So we saw him with Logan Paul. We talked about him with Logan Paul.
Yes.
General
Yes, we
comment
did.
is Donald Trump in these settings is very engaging. He's
Mm.
very funny. He's very humanized. He's not,
I will
up at
tell
a
you, I've never seen Trump so humanized, like, at the beginning of fucking Taker's interview. I
thank
told you
you.
that. I
Yeah,
never in my
yeah.
life like, what the I've never saw this side of Trump. Like, well, that's weird. Like, when Trump asked him, he said, "So, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. So, how many times have you been married?" And Taker goes, "Oh, well, too many times. Well, maybe we shouldn't talk about." And Trump's
Mm,
like, "Uh, do we need to keep that in there or whatever?" I'm like, "Oh my God." Like, that
yeah.
was real. See, people can relate to shit like that. That's what I
Mm,
mean. Instead of the stuffy shirt, I don't care if it was Trump or Harris or Biden talking like that. They want to see that out of their, you know, politicians, whatever. They
y
want them real.
and that, like I said, when I call it a humanization of Donald Trump, all I'm referring to is that he's not standing on stage in front of thousands of people screaming and
Mm,
telling you Kamala's a shitty vice president, which he
yeah,
did say.
yeah.
He did say Kamala is a shitty vice president. He doesn't call her Kamala very often, I don't think. But the clip came out and he talks about what a bad vice president she is. And he just says it in front of 20, 30, 40. He claimed 100,000 people have attended his rallies in the video we
Well, look
watched.
how many times you say,
I
Monet is a shit wrestler. I mean, it's the
Yeah,
same thing.
I'm not criticizing his use of calling her a shitty vice president, that's his opinion,
Oh,
because I still and will forever believe in the First Amendment. You have the right to say it, doesn't mean that you don't, won't bear the consequences of what you say.
mm,
So, I'm very Voltairean that way. I believe in the freedom of speech in this country. Um, but what I was getting at with Trump is in this particular it's not a character change. It's a setting change. He's still who he is. You and I both watched the interview, hour
mm,
long. He still
yes.
got his shots in. He talked about Mexico. He talked about the
Yes, he did.
border.
Yes.
He talked about how their failures, how the election was stolen in
But that's
2020.
politics. Yep.
But
At both sides. Yep.
but in an hour long interview, they talked politics for less than 8 minutes.
Dude, what was your takeaway on that? I'll tell you mine. Tell me yours. I will tell you my biggest takeaway on that interview.
I was completely shocked when Trump started interviewing Undertaker,
Ah,
and a lot of the people commented it.
that's what I said to my mods. I'm like, I think Trump was interviewing
Yeah,
Taker.
it's like
Oh my
30
God.
minutes they talked about wrestling. And by the way, for anybody that watches it, WrestleMania 3 was at Pontiac. Trump got that wrong. He hosted 4 and 5, the tournament, and then the Mega Powers Explode. He also was at 23 in Detroit for the Battle of the Billionaires. He got that stuff wrong. That's
Okay.
one
He's
thing
not a.
about Trump. No, that's the thing. This thing.
Oh,
He's gonna get stuff wrong. They're gonna get details wrong. They had
oh.
that
Well,
discussion
at least he's real.
about
Okay. He
the
got it wrong.
Olympic boxer with the XY chromosome that they called trans. She's not actually trans, but
Yes.
they messed that up, both of them, and they went on with it. But he's not gonna get every detail correct, but what he is he's engaging and he's easy to listen to in this particular setting.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
railing against his political opponents,
Yeah. I
and I
like that
and
for
I
that
think
reason
I
too.
think he did
Yeah.
a very nice job on this. Like I told you when we did this, you suggested this. I said, "Well, I'll be very fair and I'll be objective and I'm gonna call it like I see it."
Yeah.
Trump did a really good job on
Do
this particular interview.
Do you think it was the setting? I mean,
I
because he
do.
was with Taker, because Taker's so laid back, like, "Hey, what's up? How many times you been married?" It's just wild.
And it was a break from politics because Taker didn't
Oh,
ask it. Taker, with the exception of Title IX, the only person that really brought up any political stuff was Donald Trump.
yeah. I mean, him making sure he gets his little,
Yeah,
shots in and making
his
sure
shots
people, if
in.
they're
Yeah.
following, "Hey, remember, this is what I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm going for. I'm just programming you all to remember," that type of thing, like they all do, right? Here's my takeaway. I want to ask you a question, how you feel about this. Okay, so we're going to get to some questions here too. So after this, we'll get to questions and we'll go on to the next one. Um, so uh, I don't know if it was staged or what. I don't know how you felt about it, but towards the end, when Taker asked Trump about how do you feel about men in women's sports,
Mhm.
and he brought his daughter out. And
Mhm.
I thought that was a nice touch. And holy shit, has she grown? She's tall. She's gonna be tall. Yes, she's beautiful. But so I thought that was an interesting question. And his answer was quite interesting and right to the point. And that's what people want to hear right now. They don't want to listen to a whole fucking diatribe of, the answer. They want the point, and then you can explain. So he did. He said, I know you're trying to remember. So what he said is, how do you feel about trans men or
Mhm.
men in women's sports?
Mhm.
So it was like, I will not allow it. I will not stand for it. I will not, it will not happen. So my comeback to this, and I want your feel on this, Red, is that we have Taker asking this question that comes from a business of men and women wrestling each other, right? And it could be men or women, trans women or women, whatever.
Mhm.
We did it back in my day, right? So I don't I don't see anything wrong with it in my business. So before y'all go fucking coming at me, here's my thing and thought on this is that pro wrestling is different than real competitive sports. And we do have men's sports and women's sports for a reason. Um, So when we have the new, it's not new, it's been around for a while. And I know even back in the 80s when was introduced to my, first trans person in Japan, that's when first learned of it all. So to me, this is nothing new. However, it seems so blatant in everyone's face that they're almost guarded and they're very protective of it. I feel in our business, having men and women wrestle each other or trans is no big deal. Okay, before y'all come at me, it's because we're not a legal sport. Like, we're not competitive. We're actors and stunt people. We're actors, stunt people, gymnasts, and pro wrestlers all in one. So it's just like acting, guys. So there's a place for all of that here in pro wrestling in my business. So y'all can get mad or pissed or whatever. That's just my belief in what I think and feel.
Mhm.
Because we can help, we can protect, we act, we do, we stop, we whatever. It's a man or woman that can get out of control, right? Men have steroids. Back in the day, they were so steroided out, they were hurting people left and right, and they still do, right? And when you go crazy and you can't control yourself on these roids. So I feel like if you're transitioning and you're in our business and you're having all these different, issues, maybe it needs to be checked before someone gets hurt. I get that. Okay. But I think the real question was in this interview, and tell me what you think, is that men being in women's sports. What do you think?
Yeah, so obviously to me, Undertaker was talking specifically to the transgender issue, which has a lot of press and a lot of steam. He mentioned the Algerian boxer, and I wrote her name down, I thought. But she
Oh,
does,
I know who you're talking
yeah,
about.
but she definitely has XY chromosome, which would make her a man biologically.
Yes. Yes.
However, it's SDS, sexual deviance or
Just
difference.
yep,
And so,
Defariant, yep.
yeah, so she can have ovaries and testes, and she can have testosterone and still have all of
But
the
see, back in the day when they
female
did
body parts, you know?
this happened back in the day, and you know what they did with people? They put them in the fucking circus
Mhm.
when shit like this happened. It was horrible.
So, she's got excess testosterone running through her body because of a health defect. They both called her trans. So that's not correct. Okay. That's just absolutely not correct on their part. I do understand though, um, the argument about putting men in women's sports. Now,
I do
it's
too.
interesting
I
that
do.
his daughter is a quarterback for a football team,
Mhm.
'cause the football is traditionally a man's sport. I know
But it's
that
all women.
Oh, the football team's all women?
I believe it is. Could someone
Uh,
fact check for that back there,
I
guys?
didn't know that, so thank you. Um,
I'm not
I
I'm pretty sure it is. I need that to
okay.
be fact checked.
I was just gonna say that was really ironic that he was talking about men and women's sport and his daughter's the quarterback for a football team,
Can I
so
stop you right there? Isn't it how when people hear one thing, they think that right away instead of checking? And I'm
yeah,
not saying you're wrong, but that's how what happens in politics.
yeah, and
Okay.
I just took it on its face that she was playing with boys, like she's the quarterback of a junior high or high school football team. Um,
Maybe she is playing on both teams or both playing with both now, and maybe he's all for that. I don't know, but Trump said right away that he doesn't think men should be playing on women and women shouldn't be playing on men. Do we got a fact check on that, guys? Thank you.
yeah, and,
They said the boxer is intersex, not trans. Correct. We were saying that.
that's what we're saying, and I'm not sure what information I don't have correct, but, let
Which
me know
what
there,
information?
mod GTV. I don't know. Um,
Okay.
I
Mm.
don't believe that men should be in a competitive sport with women. That's just I mean, it doesn't if you're a biological male, you're a biological male. Gender is a social construct, I understand that, but sex is a
Mhm.
biology, that's science, that's proven. I
Yes.
don't I
Yes.
don't believe that you should be able to have the advantages of being a male and
Mhm.
compete in female sports.
Correct.
Um, we joke about AEW on our other shows. They have the first transgender wrestler in Nyla
Yes.
Rose. Nyla
Nyla
Rose
Rose.
is
Yes.
on the roster. She is much larger than the other women. She is a very good worker. She makes them, look very,
Believable.
very good. It's very believable.
Let me tell you,
She
Nyla
could
is
wrestle.
very smart.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
she could wrestle with the men,
Yes, yes. I'm sorry,
so
come back, fact checker. What do we have on that? Okay, is it men or women on the team that she's on? Okay, so she's playing with boys and girls. Okay, I need to find out if she's playing. I understand the sport of flag football because I've played flag football. I understand. I need to know if it's an all women's team or men's team. That's all.
oh, and I took it as tackle football, not flag football. See, that's what I'm saying. I that one little bit doesn't give you enough information
Yeah.
out of the, interview,
Yeah.
and that's
Thanks,
fine.
guys, for finding out on the flag football. And football is no joke. It's a lot of fun.
Not rough enough when I played, but
Oh,
anyway.
whatever. And I played golf. And I said, you know what? I ain't playing golf. Golf's not fucking. It's not violent enough.
Yeah, golf
Well,
isn't
let me
fun.
tell you, when I played golf, it became violent, and I
I
love it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, that's kind of what I think on that. I think that they're correct. Now, Title IX is federal protections that isn't just about men and women being able to play sports. It also provides accesses for your funding and making sure that universities disperse funds in certain ways. And I've had this conversation on other podcasts that I host. As a lifelong, because I'm from there, University of Nebraska football fan, that football program built every other thing at the University of Nebraska from a sporting standpoint. They have the number 1 volleyball team in the country right now.
mm,
They have a sports facility that 30,000 people, Medusa, come to watch a volleyball game at the University of Nebraska. It would not
mm,
be possible without the men's sport that
yeah,
funded the expansion of the university. The Devaney Center is not possible without the University of Nebraska Cornhuskers that sold out every game for the last
yes,
404 home games. It just wouldn't be possible. However, Title IX is also federal mandated protections for the manner in which funding is spent and the idea of programs. So if you have 12 men's sports, you're supposed to be able to have 12 women's sports and all of these sort of
right,
things. Um, so it's more than just can a man play in a woman's sport and a woman in a man's sport? So when Trump says unilaterally. I'm
Yep.
gonna wipe Title IX out. That is something that he's going to have to do.
Wow. That's gonna be wow. Hey, I was gonna tell you something about Mad G. He said that he doesn't you don't know what this guy. Let me tell you, Mad G. Mad G, he has so many degrees and bachelor's and master's in political science and whatever. So Mad G, he's one of our Twitch guys, and he does have his shit together, brother. So I'm just gonna set you straight one after another.
Well, no,
Uh,
I appreciate that. I was just wondering what I
yeah,
got wrong. I mean,
you
or what
didn't.
what I didn't get clarified. So, it's okay, it's all good. This is just conversation.
Yes, it's
Um,
conversation, guys, so you can let it flow, but just to tell somebody he doesn't have his right, can you be specific in what you feel that he doesn't have it right? That would be great. Um, so I'm also a political scientist. Oh,
awesome. Yeah.
awesome, Mad G.
Oh, the
I'm
Algerian
saying
boxer. Okay.
oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No.
Okay, no
Mhm.
worries, brother.
And
All
and
right.
that and let me just put this out there, folks. That was I read 4 or 5 articles before we got on the show to make sure that I had those facts correct. Um, they may not be correct, Mad G. There may be some difference there. What I mean is they're all saying the same thing. That's when I say
O
they're correct. So if they're in agreement, I'm going to accept what all those people are saying. But
okay.
I get where it's also controversial when the IBC, was it,
That's way
disqualified them, and
yeah.
now the Olympics is allowing them to compete. So I get it. Yes, sir. I get it.
Okay, so what'd you say, fact checkers? Okay. So they have 2 separate leagues, and there's a men's and a women's flag football, is was what he's, tracking for now. Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, all right, oh, fair enough. All right,
Well, like
and
I
I
said, it was just enough information that I'm like, wait a minute, that's ironic. He's talking about his daughter's the quarterback of a football team. Football generally a sport played by men. So
okay.
anyway.
I love it. We have 2 political scientists. It's so good. Um, so I said I'd get to some questions because I got some really deep stuff I wanna talk about here next on the, podcast. About Taker and Trump, and then we're going to move on so we're not so long winded. Is there anybody questions here that you want to take? Can we do highlights here if they want to be like we do
Yep.
in our other ones? Okay,
I've
can
got
you
one
explain
right
all of that?
here. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you guys want to drop a question in starting now, if you want to drop a question, let's try to stay on topic about this. Um, and we'll just kind of go from there. So I starred one I saw earlier.
Yep, I
Um,
see it.
do you feel both parties have promising solutions to the issues, or one party, or neither? Medusa, this is your show. You tell them what you think.
Wow. Okay. That's a good question. And that's kind of like what I said before, right? When I hopefully that, are we at where both parties are promising? Are they coming together? Are they were I truly believe at the end of the day that they all go in the back room like wrestlers do and drink a few beers and laugh. And I mean, because I mean, that's pretty evident that, watching the Al Smith Awards show or whatever, and you're looking at everybody on one show and they're roasting each other and everyone's laughing at each other's jokes. And then they go back the next day and just put each other down. To me, it looks like one big wrestling show, really. And so, is it the Al Smith or Al White? What is that?
I
The
think it was the Al Smith Awards. I think you got that
uh,
right. Yeah.
okay, yeah, and
'Cause
so
he's
I
sitting
thought
there
that
roasting Schumer and
and
I'm
Schumer's laughing his ass off. I'm like,
yeah.
"What the hell am I watching here?" Yeah, oh, the Al Smith, of course. But, I'm gonna get to your question there, Yasmin, and it's a very good question, but I want since we're on this topic here, did you know the relationship between Trump and him, Schumer?
I don't.
Okay, so here it is. So way back when, if someone could fact check me, is that I believe Trump was working with his dad at the time, and he was starting to take everything, just take everything and run with it from his dad, and or however that transition was. And Schumer actually worked for Trump, and Trump signed his first paycheck.
Okay.
And I was like, holy shit. And he said, Schumer will always be my friend, and he knows why he'll be my friend. And I thought, those sneaky bastards, they're
Mhm.
actually working all together. So to answer your question, yes, at the end of the day, we the people are all being played. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying that's how it feels sometimes, right? But it's kind of like watching your best character, a pro wrestler. You love to hate to love, whatever. But at the end of the day, they're still normal, good people, right? So I do feel that both parties have promising solutions. I really do. And if we could ever get one, like, one side is pressing for a one world order and, we're all going to be happy together, that'll never that will never work. But I believe that they do have the same issues and that are promising and um that could find solutions, but I really truly believe that one party is not the answer and we will find just chaos if it just no. Red, how do you feel?
Um, I feel that the Democratic Party I once belonged to is not the same party that I belonged to 20 years ago, and it's not even the party that I voted for Barack Obama in 2008.
It
Um,
changed a lot there. Yeah,
proudly
definitely.
voted for the man, worked for the man,
I did too. I
worked
did. I
for him,
voted for Obama. Yes.
and don't mind telling people that. I don't mind. And
I
this
don't.
is this has been a long process of me getting to where I am. But I will never vote for democratic socialism, and I believe that's what we have. Socialism on its face, democratic socialism, Marxism, whatever you wanna call it, is
Mm.
not compatible with the Constitution of the United States of America.
Oof.
Now the Constitution of the United States of America is not perfect. I know that because there's this thing called the Three-Fifths Compromise in it, which counted slaves as 60% of a person
Oof.
for the Electoral College only as part of the agreement when they formed
Wait
the
a minute.
government.
What? Say that again. The last one.
Three-Fifths
It was
Compromise
oh.
was for the Electoral College to otherwise the northern states would
Oh,
have always won the presidency.
right. Exactly. Yes.
So
Yep.
and slavery was written into the Constitution, even in a de facto way by sanctioning it with that law. So the
There's a
Constitution's
lot
not
of people that fought to keep slavery out. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and
Yes.
in.
And
So
well, and in, yes.
and in. But what I was getting at ultimately was that I don't believe socialism is compatible with the
Yeah.
Constitution of the United States because this is a democratic republic and any socialist nation that has ever existed has become that has either been or become an autocracy one way or another. And
Huh.
most of the time, socialism is simply a means of government power and control. It's the minute the ideology gets put to practice,
It's
it's an
very
absolute
expensive.
failure. It's a failure on every single level. So that's why Mao's socialism looked far different than Stalin's socialism, looked far different than Lenin's socialism. Let's not even talk
Wow.
about Tito and former Yugoslavia. And then you can go to South America if you'd like, and that socialism looks entirely different than what Marx wrote in his book, and which was actually about Germany, not any other nation. He thought the most industrialized, powerful nation in the world, in Europe anyway, would become the first communist nation, and he was completely wrong. Now, as for
Which was
Germany, Germany,
Germany. And that was what year? That was
1873 when they did German
oh,
unification.
uh,
So he was talking about Prussia and Germany. Now, as for the Trump not Republican Party, he is a populist. He
mm,
is not a Ronald Reagan Republican. The Republican coalition of the Reagan days doesn't exist any longer. So I don't believe in their policies either. However, I think we have a much better opportunity with Trump policies than we do with the Democratic policies of Kamala Harris.
for right now. I don't shoot me, everyone, but for right now. But if there had to be, we'll get on to the next subject. If there had to be that perfect cabinet of people, who would that be in this year's election? would you let's talk about this side. So you're having Trump and Kennedy, and you see Elon. Is it Tulsi and Tulsi? Is it Tulsi? Tulsi Gabbard. Was there one more? Anyway, so this is supposed to be your powerhouse here. Now you have Build Baby Build with the most electric guy ever, and a man that is a Democratic Party, which is billing as an independent that wants to make America healthy again, and Tulsi. I'm a Tulsi fan. I love Tulsi and some of her things. And so I find this very interesting just because of the people, and they're like a firecracker, all of these people in one cabinet. It's like a freaking China built firecracker. And I don't mean just the quality. The quality of a lot of these people are amazing, amazing. But I just find this, wow, what a direction of all of this wonderful political party. Now, on the other side, I'm from Minnesota. I don't agree with Tim Walz at all. I don't. I'm from that beautiful state, and I've seen the differences in choices. And I've also seen good and bad, but I've seen a lot of it that I don't like. And I'm not going to I'm not defending Kamala here, but I really feel that she didn't get to choose Tim Walz. I don't think that was a choice either. I don't think Kamala was a choice. I think she was a plant, and I think Walz was a plant. And that's how I feel about differently of the cabinets, that this was just all placement, and this is different over here. It's like a mixing bowl. And you, Red? Can't hear you, Red. He must be on mute.
Yeah, we got noise in the house. That's why I went
Okay.
ahead and put myself on mute in case it got picked up, even though I got the headset on.
No worries.
I don't believe in any of them. Not one. Not from one party do I believe in any of them. I'm not an anarchist by any means. I think the system is far too corrupt and the country is too far gone. And that is why it has become such a vogue thing to say we're going to vote for the lesser of two evils, or the person that is less bad or less worse or less whatever.
How can you say that?
I
You know?
don't.
Oh,
To Mad GTV, I just want to respond. You say this isn't a socialist society. What I said was I'm not going to support democratic socialism, which is what I believe the Democratic Party is
is
moving
going to.
for.
Yes, going
Yes.
to. And I support what Red is saying. I do. I feel like they are very
And I'm
much
not and
so.
I'm not picking on I just wanted to respond to that in case it wasn't clear. I don't think America is a socialist country. I think we
Mm-mm.
are becoming one.
What do
And
you think about Venezuela compared to us?
I think Venezuela sucks, and they're nothing compared to us in terms of a prosperous
No, from
government
where
and
they
prosperous
were and where
people.
they become and what could
Well,
happen to
they're
America.
socialist, yeah. I mean, they're
Yeah.
communist, and it's
Okay.
and the thing is, in every instance in the world, no one can point to me where socialism has worked. Not one. Not one instance. You know why? And it's not that I know
There
everything and no one else does. Socialism is an ideology that the minute people are inserted into the system, it's ruined.
mhm.
It's ruined because people by nature are selfish, and people by nature are going to act in their own interest, which is why capitalism works and socialism fails. And in
That's a
no
true
place
statement.
on the
Yes.
planet, and this is just political philosophy at
That's
this
all
point,
of us say
Juice.
in our back of our own houses. We're gonna do what's best for us, right?
Correct.
Because who hasn't
No,
said that?
nobody is going to put the greater good in front of their personal survival. Nobody. Nobody has that capacity as a human being, because that's not how human beings are wired. Then when
Mhm.
you add the societal and the cultural and all of the other elements to it,
Yeah.
completely wrong. But there is not one instance anybody can point to where socialism has been a success. Because if you say, well, it was a Soviet, When
No.
Stalin took over as the Generalissimo, it was just his
Stalin.
way, and he was the dictator. That was what it was. It was an absolute abject failure. When Mao Zedong became in 1949 the leader of China, the biggest nation on earth, it was in the vein of communism or socialism. What it was an
Big.
absolute dictatorship where
Mhm.
Mao's way was absolute law. So, and again, you could point to any other nation in the world, and I can tell you why it failed. The closest success that we ever had in Europe was Yugoslavia. But guess what happened when Tito died? Nine nations
Mm.
formed, the union broke up, and you had ethnic cleansing in Bosnia committed by Croatians in the 90s
Croatians.
because that was
Mm.
gone. And Slobodan Milosevic was all about that sort of imperialism. So, my
Yeah.
point is,
eh,
it doesn't work. I'm on the side of I am a right-leaning person because I'm a libertarian at heart. That is who I'm voting for, either the Libertarian or the Constitution Party. Doesn't mean anything in this
But you're not
country,
voting for either party this year.
but I'm not voting for Trump, but I'm not voting for Kamala
Er,
Harris. But I will vote, and it will be for either the Constitution or the
oh, okay.
Libertarian Party, which is throwing my vote away because here in the United States we don't do pluralism. We
Well,
have a
why are
two
you
party
doing that? Why
we
don't you
have a
want to
two
vote
party
for what you believe in, what's gonna work best for us now?
because what I believe in is libertarianism. I do not believe in Trumpism
You
because Trump
think
is
he's
not
just
a
trying to
traditional
make it
Republican.
okay, so you feel that he's okay, so he was a Democrat beforehand. He was a Democrat for a long ass time. He used to swing with all these guys.
I think he's a populist.
Yeah,
So
but he
so
was
he's
a Democrat for a long time. He knows how these people roll. He knows how they eat, how they sleep, how they drink, how they which he doesn't. You know what I mean? So he knows their game. So maybe that's it. Maybe that's what people are feeling that he knows their game and he's calling it out. I don't know. Are you checking to see if he was a Democrat?
no, he was at he was there's photos of him with Bill and Hillary Clinton. I have no doubt that he at some point had some affiliation with them.
Oh,
But your people can check because I don't know. I think in fact, I think he
he
was.
was.
Yeah, I think he was. Now that I'm thinking about it.
Okay, fact checkers, what year was it? Yeah, he was a Democrat his entire life prior to this. So that's scary as hell. So how can a person just turn from Democrat to Republican? Do you think it real here's her question, Yasmin. This is what I said. At the end of the day, are they really working together? You know, it makes you think. I don't know. I think people can change just like anything. People can
Mhm.
stop drinking, people can stop drugs, people can stop bad things, good things. People can change. I get it. They can change political parties. They can their belief systems. Some people turn good to bad, bad to good. It's just
Well,
so we'll
I've
never
calmed
know.
down since, but in the aftermath of the storm, I was so pissed off at Kamala Harris and the Biden administration, I was going to go vote for Trump because of the devastation Western North Carolina has faced.
Oh,
Um,
don't even get me started on
and what
that.
was put it
That's
out
so
there,
heartbreaking.
and
Yeah.
you are in Florida in the center of it. So, but I have like I'm just making this as an example to change your mind, and I don't have a problem being that guy. I have calmed down. I am done
Mhm.
with my tantrum. I'm going
Okay.
to stick to my guns and vote for who I'm gonna vote for, but
Okay. You do that. Here's a good segue. Here's a good
I was
segue.
ready to cast a vote for Trump. That's all I was saying, Deuce.
Okay. Now I don't believe you. Anyway, so here is I won't let you. Okay. So here's the thing. Here's a good segue. We're talking about who are we talking about? Stalin, right? Okay. So here's a good segue into Mick Foley. So Mick Foley put out a post on Instagram, and I thought, oh, Mick, I love Mick, and I do. I love Mick is he's been good to me. I've been good to Mick, just because his political views are a certain way, and whatever. And I commented on his Instagram today, and I said he's made a comment, and I said, but wait a minute, you work for Vince, and so a lot of people chimed in on that because they don't understand what I was really talking about. They took it a certain way, so nobody knows the tone of a text, right?
Mhm.
So I just kind of giggled. I'm like, I love it because everyone comes up with their own theories. Um, and so I just thought it was quite interesting. how you're speaking of how do you spell Is it Stalin? Is it?
Stalin, yeah,
Yeah, Stalin.
Stalin, yeah.
So I find it interesting and a good segue how that you said dictatorship and how he really feels that Trump is a dictator. Like he thinks he's the, orange man bad, just really bad person, and how people think Kamala's this bad person or Biden or Clinton or Obama, and it goes on and Trump and every other Republican. Well, everyone's bad. Okay. So if you listen to McFoley's IG, it's quite entertaining. And he starts off with how he found it very entertaining and how he thought, when Undertaker said, hey, he brought back politics and that, what did he say? Trump was funny. He brought, funny into politics again. And then he said, yeah, for the only first 3 minutes or 3 years or whatever it was. And then I knew he was serious again. And he goes into his diatribe of, just pointing things and bringing in his own facts about this and that about Trump. And he's very stern on it and what he believes because he's very passionate, everybody. And, when people talk about Trump or when people talk about Kamala, there's kind of there's a buzz with both because we have her ethnicity, we have her upbringing, we have that she's a woman, and people are just high on that. But we've got to think about what are their policies, right? Same with Trump. So when Foley pointed out a few things in Stalin and dictator, he's kind of put him as the same category as McCarthy. And so how do you feel about that, Red?
Trump as McCarthy is a little bit of a stretch, but do you want our audience to hear it, or what do we want to do?
You mean Foley's interview?
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh, can we play the audio on here?
We should be able to, yes.
Okay. All right. So we're going to play the audio, everybody, just in case. Okay. And
Hold on just a second. Take a second.
just take a breath, everybody.
Take a breath.
Yes. It's going to be fun. Oh, you're showing the whole thing, though. Can everyone see it?
It's a still video.
To talk about the election.
Can you hear that, Medusa?
Yeah, there's a feedback, though.
Talk about the election. I think it's important for everyone to have a moment
Feedback.
where enough's enough. I mean,
That's because it's going through my TV because I'm on the
Oh.
headphones.
Oh, okay. So if you guys get a chance, just listen to it. It's a message to America. Go ahead and leave his picture up there or something, or however you get all three of us on there. It jars some memory for me. I'm a visual person. So let's see. So yeah, him and McCarthy. I was stunned because McCarthy, way back then, was it 40? I don't know when it was. World War II times, isn't that
1954. Yeah, it was
Okay.
post 1954, the Red Scare here in America. The
Yeah.
McCarthy hearings, without evidence of any kind, he accused high-level people in the government, in society, and people in general of being communists. Essentially, the Salem witch trials is an allusion to McCarthyism.
Okay. So again, he's paralleling him with him because of the same tone. You know what I'm saying? And the word and the verbiage and whatever. And witch hunt, and all the things that you said. But what I find interesting is that his how do I say this? His fact checking, his resources. So this is a good question to you too. Everyone has their resource where they go to for actual fact checking. And this is where AI is no good, guys. So AI has just been trained with all the verbiage from all of us around the world to translate into who's ever feels that is fact to put it into AI to deliver you what they want you to hear. That's how I feel. I don't even know what's going to be real on AI anymore by the input of information. Now, I'm the AI information is based off of your question and it searches everywhere to get that answer. Well, somehow that answer had to go in there and make it real for AI to believe, to spit it out, to think, make you think that that is it, right? So that concerns me. So where people get their information, where is the number one fact check source anymore? Where is it? Where is yours, Red, before I continue?
Google.
Fuck Google. Are you kidding me?
No, I tell people to Google it, and then I read 8 or 9 or 10 different things, verify the information that way.
But Google's only going to give you certain information. You don't think Google is suppressed?
Oh, I'm sure it is.
Oh my God. You just
What
threw
was
that
that
out
line
there
out
just
of
to fucking piss me
what was
off.
that line out of Swordfish with the eyes see
Yeah.
and the ears hear, the mind believes?
Uh-huh. Okay. Oh my God. Google. I can't believe it. Okay. So, okay. I don't agree with you on that, but again,
Well, who are you
so
using? You had a point. Who are you using to fact check things?
so I search people that go into the Black area that can find information on the other end, not just our news sources of bullshit of Fox or CNN or ABC or what's the other China one and OAN, they're all driven somewhere. I mean, Fox is owned by what's his name that is a staunch liberal, right? So how does that even work? So if you sit in front of a television and listen to these news channels and think you're finding out truth is just absurd. Now, I believe there's a base of things that you can go by. Absolutely. Weather's good, but then again, that's questionable nowadays. Um, so, but then you do your own research, really. And I understand how a lot of these research things are starting to fade away and the real truths that were really out there where you were able to Google something and it takes you so long to find the truth of it, right? So there is, let's see, I believe Mick Foley got his research from Vox on this. And I believe maybe NPR or something. God, please, guys, Fox fact checkers. What was that?
He definitely said NPR. He quoted NPR October 22nd, 2024.
Okay, so Mick said that there was an article that came out today in NPR, October 22nd, 24, with a study that showed Donald Trump had issued over 100 threats to people he perceived as political rivals. And there he's referring to an article and there's no proof. No proof is provided in those 100 threats at all. And they're the only soundbite they provide of Trump saying Donald Trump, these people should be in jail, is the way they talk about our judges and our justices trying to get them to sway their vote. This is not a threat, but it is a Trump talk. It is of Trump talking about people who try to sway judges, right? And that's what he's talking about. And then Mick shows an article on ABC News, and again, we know how ABC is really leaning, and it's very questionable. I mean, they've had some great stuff in the past, but I don't know if I can believe a lot of these things. And that's what I feel that is so sad. I remember back in the day, there was only 1 or 2 or 3 news channels, and that's what you based everything on, right? And it was, hopefully it was the truth. Oh, okay. So tell me, where do you go besides Google when it comes to news like that? If you wanted to get some good stuff besides your degree.
Well, from what? Like, I don't watch mainstream media. I'll read Reuters.
Mhm.
For the international news, they're pretty good. I used
Mhm.
to read Al Jazeera before I got threatened of being a terrorist. Always interesting to see what those people think of us when they're your enemies. That's
Who
what
is
I
that?
mean by those people. I meant enemies. It was not
And
but Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is
yes,
the Arab news. So I mean, they have a much different bent and perspective.
BBC is different too.
BBC is very good.
Yeah.
Um, but everything I do would be international. It wouldn't be anything local. I've read the Wall Street Journal, but then on top of that, I'm going to read the Chicago Tribune or the LA Times or the Miami Herald and then I have, when I go to my phone for mainstream stuff, I
Yeah.
have NBC, not MSNBC, NBC, and I have Fox, because that's pretty much a counterweight, you know. NBC is going to say one thing, Fox is going to say the other. Like today, Fox said that um, Kamala Harris broke federal law by, comparing Trump to Hitler outside of her residence, and NBC is saying she's making strong comparisons or
Y
accusations or whatever, so
yeah.
it's just the way they word it, and they're playing to their audience, and I get
Yes.
that too.
Yes.
So that's why, I when I said I Google it, what I mean is I'm gonna Google it, and then I'm gonna read all of those different sort of sourcing. Primary sources are the best if you can get it right out of the person's mouth. For
Yes.
instance, this will be a primary source forever, Medusa. Andrew and Medusa said this on October 22nd, 2000 or 23rd, whatever today is. And then they can play the video and prove it. It is
Yeah.
absolutely a primary source, kind
Before
of
you
like
edit it, before you edit what you
correct.
want.
But I
All
don't ever
you
edit
little
anything. Yeah, I don't ever edit anything. But my point is you could do that. And then your secondary resources are your history books and all that sort of stuff. When I'm
Wow.
watching on TV some of the stuff that's happening between Trump and Kamala Harris, when you're watching it on TV and you're watching it happen live without the commentary, it's a primary source. Watching Nancy Pelosi make the statement she did at the DNC that we talked about, I did
Yes.
what was best for my party, came right out of her mouth without, you don't need political commentary. That is a primary source. So I try to find the actual information, not the 7 tweets later or the hearsay or
Yeah,
whatever. And
you
that's
gotta stay
pretty
away
much,
from that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. You can get sucked in very easily. So,
yep.
speaking of getting sucked in, I just find it interesting because I know Foley is very passionate, and I
Mhm.
know he loves what he did and does, and I know he loves his family, and he's a good person, but he's very, um he's just very adamant on
Mhm.
where he finds his information, and people get angry at him for that, and I just wish I mean, it would be a great conversation to have Mick on here and talk really good politics like this, and I think you and I and him would have an amazing conversation because he's not a mean guy.
Mm-mm.
But he has gotten pretty boisterous though at times before when Trump was running. That was it. I had to cut his stuff like, okay, okay, he's at it again. You know what I mean? And so it's just but he's passionate. That's all I can say, right? So you can't I just find it entertaining. Um so that being said, I find it interesting. Let's go to a very colorful guy. Your favorite, Jimmy Cornette.
Oh my, James E. I don't even listen to the drive-through because it's hard, but I do enjoy him on social media, that is for sure.
So, can
Um,
I honestly say that Jim Cornette is, like, one of the most colorful guys out there, and he don't give 2 shits, right?
the dude would be entertaining reading the Yellow Pages. Kids, for those of you that don't know, before there was just Google it, they had this thing called the Yellow Pages, and it actually listed businesses' names and Jim Cornette and numbers, and Jim Cornette could be funny reading the Yellow Pages. But this is what Jim Cornette said,
Uh,
Medusa. Another former great wrestler on the list of alien pod people duped by the world's most repugnant Kong man. Mark and Glenn, you made it this long with everyone admiring you. Then in the end, you ruin your reputations and try to destroy the country along with them. I am ashamed for you. So that came from Jim Cornette in response to a 20-second TikTok that Undertaker, Kane, Trump made talking about voting. Um,
Put
and
that
they
back up. Let me see
okay,
something. Yeah, let
yeah.
me see his I just something there.
And Wrestle Ops, this is a retweet from Wrestle Ops, but go ahead.
So, what do you think of Wrestle Ops?
They're fine. I mean,
Yeah.
they're for the quote dirt sheets or people that report wrestling and stuff, they seem to be fairly accurate.
Yeah, I like how I mean, I don't like the baiting on some of these, or but Wrestle Ops is pretty good sometimes.
Yeah, they're not horrible.
So another former great wrestler, again, brotherly love, right? On the list of alien pod people duped by the world's most repugnant con man, Mark and Glenn. You made it this long with everyone admiring you. Then, in the end, you ruined your reputations and tried to destroy the country along with them. I'm ashamed for you. So let me ask you that. How much is that directly towards them repulsiveness from Jimmy Cornette, or actually Jimmy Cornette, the character?
Okay. So
You
I'm gonna
see where I'm going?
Yeah, I'm gonna take this down though. So that way
Okay.
you're not doing the head thing.
Okay.
Or the head the head thing. I had it right because we're backwards. It's a mirror. Anyway, so I think Cornette really believes the stuff about Trump, but I also think that Cornette's a businessman and he knows how to get the most
2
engagement
point.
out of his people. Yeah. So
Yes.
I think absolutely that Cornette thinks that Trump is a piece of crap, doesn't belong
Yes.
being president, thinks he wants to be a dictator, blah blah. All these things you've read him tweet about Trump over the last 8 years. I
Yes.
think Cornette really believes that. I also think he knows that when he responds to a TikTok like that WrestleOps retweets or tweets, that he's going to get engagement, and that's why 400,000 people listen to the drive-through every week and listen to whatever his other podcast is called, The
I love
Experience.
Corny. I
The
love
drive-through and The
Corny.
Experience. Yeah, Cornette, by
At the end
far
of the day, what is it? Business.
one of the best wrestling historians you'll ever find.
Yes.
Memory, logbooks. I mean, he's got the books and the pay sheets from the Midnight Express from the early 1980s all the way.
Him and Bruce Pritchard.
Fantastic.
Holy shit.
Fantastic.
Hands down. Yeah.
And talk about being on two different sides of the spectrum, Pritchard and Cornette. But they're great storytellers, great historians, great creatively. And like you say, Cornette knew exactly what he was doing when he responded to that. He also called them Glenn and Mark, not Kane and Taker. So, I mean, he knew exactly. And let's face it, Glenn Jacobs has been extremely critical of Kamala Harris
where he
and
stands.
Joe Biden for a very long time.
Here's the thing with people that just blow smoke. Like, okay, I'm just this or that. I like people where exactly what when they speak, what they're talking about. Like, he's exact on each, like you just said about Kane. He's been the same every time. He's not going back and forth like, like, some people. Like, I'm going to say Kamala this is what pissed me off about Kamala, is that, okay, let's just use the fracking thing. Fracking, yes. Fracking, no. Fracking, yes. Fracking, no. What is it? And then her other policies. What are your policies? At least with certain people that people may hate, exactly what they're going to do if you like it or you don't, or if it works with us or it doesn't work for us. At least you know what the fuck they're doing. You know what I mean? If they're going to be a crook right in front of you, at least you know what not you're going to vote for or what you're going to vote for.
So I work for a millionaire. And a lot of people do. That doesn't make me special, but I mean, I deal with this man regularly.
You are special, Red.
Regularly, I deal with this man. He's a millionaire. But one thing that I like about him, he is everything that you would imagine. Cutthroat in business, can be a real jerk off, whatever, but he provides over 800 people in this state that I live in with jobs. He also is the same exact person at 6:00 in the morning and lunchtime and 4:00 in the afternoon and 8:00 and 12:00, whatever time you call him, you get the exact same person. If you've had any interaction with him before, what his answers and no, I'm talking about the owner of my company.
Oh, the owner
you're going to get, and then what I'm getting at is I respect and appreciate this. Trump has never deviated from certain things. He thinks the election was stolen. That's his position. He think the 2020 election. Let me put that out there. It's not stolen. This one, I'm not talking about that. He's always been tough on immigration. He spent 45 minutes in front of his gold elevators when he announced his candidacy in 2015 rambling on about Mexico and making them the worst possible people in the world. And he has hammered the economy and immigration.
And
And he's
how he's
been
going to make Mexico
very,
pay for it. And
yeah,
blah, 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 blah.
very, very consistent. We're going to build the wall and Mexico's going to pay for it. But he's been very consistent with that messaging. Now he'll never get half of what he says done, but he's been very consistent with the messaging. You know
But
what
is
you're
that his
getting.
fault? No, because
kn-
it takes Congress. My
You know what
dear.
you're getting with him. With the other one, you have no idea what you're getting.
I honestly take it or leave it or not like it or like it. I don't know what I'm getting with Kamala. All I know is that, yes, because I'm a woman, would it be would it be great to have a woman president? Yes, but she's not ready. She's not ready. I don't think she could fight a war. I don't. I'd be very scared. I don't think anyone fears her or what's happening to that Democratic political party. I don't think anybody fears that party. Or maybe just the people running it right now anyway. Okay? That's how I feel that everyone sees us right now. I'm not trying to put down that, but I'm just saying that's how I see us pictured. I have an old story is when I was I was going over to Paris. And I'll never forget that I was sitting next to this woman and I spoke out to one of the wrestlers. And the lady sitting next to me just said, You guys are so rude. And I thought, well, wrestling. And I said, I'm sorry, ma'am. She goes, You're from America. I said, Yes, ma'am. And she said, Your country is arrogant, loud, and rude. And I will never forget that. Never.
Yeah. So somebody had pointed it out in the chat earlier, and it's a very
Yeah.
sensitive issue, so I'm just going to be careful
It's
and we'll
okay.
talk about
Yeah,
it. But
absolutely.
we're talking about readiness to be president, and Trump has already been president. He's already dealt
Yeah.
with a lot of the world
Readiness.
players.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when somebody steps into this office, January 20th, 2025, the new president of the United States, not Joe Biden, because one of them's going to be. You have war in Israel, the Gaza Strip, Lebanon, and Iran's involved. You have war with the Ukraine and Russia, and North Korea has just sent troops to Russia, aid to Russia.
Yes. Did you see that? I just
Yeah.
saw that.
Yeah.
Oh my
Um,
God, guys, this is how serious it is.
And regardless of your political affiliation,
No.
that guy running North Korea is a fucking nut job. 100%
We're
fanatic
talking
fucking nut job.
no, we're talking kamikaze style,
Yeah. So that's the world that whoever becomes president is stepping into. They better be prepared to be president. And I don't think that despite his former tenure as president, I don't think that even Trump is ready to deal with the Middle East
there's a lot going on that
and
has
how
changed.
on
Yeah.
fire that is right now. And when you have the North Korean dictator joining forces with the Russian dictator to stop the Ukraine that they
Don't
have
forget the
been
leader in China.
culturally at war with for
Mhm.
70 years, because it was always the Russians using the Ukrainian for agriculture, food, supplies, weaponry.
Because they have the best minerals over there.
Correct. And they were the breadbasket of Eastern Europe for so
Yes.
long. And then under Nikita Khrushchev, 5 million Ukrainians lost their lives when they tried the Great Leap Forward by cross-pollinations and created a man-made famine. 5 million
That was
Ukrainians
a
died.
disaster,
And they
dude.
haven't forgotten it. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's what people don't necessarily understand is the genesis of that issue. Well, this war is still going on, and I hear people say, well, if Russia wanted to end it, they would have ended it. I don't believe that. I don't because they would have ended it already. There's no reason for Putin to continue to wage this war. But anyway,
I got a question here.
that was a
So
tangent that I didn't mean to go on.
No,
but
it was a very good tangent and for real, for real.
But whoever is president, they need to be prepared because they are running right into a shitstorm. That is what it is.
That's good. That's very well put. I mean, very eloquently put. Let's talk about what is happening right now because it's not going to go away. No matter who becomes president, I feel that whoever becomes president, a lot's going to change, not because they're going to make it happen, but I think because of the choice. They're all waiting to see what happens and who becomes president here in the United States because that's what's going to happen. Now, a lot may falter on that because of a reaction of someone becoming president where everything is going to be, I don't know, maybe planned in a reaction type of thing to make it look worse than it really is. And we're going to have to filter through that bullshit again. But I think America needs to take a breath and take a deep look inside because we could lose America. People don't think that could happen. I don't know. I see it crumbling a little bit, becoming weak. I think America becoming weak. America is the land of the free and the home of the brave, right? We can't even take care of our own people. And I'm very upset. You know, I'm a military wife and I've seen a lot of shit. You know, and my husband, it's that's a whole nother topic. We could get him on too, but that's a whole different topic.
No. Yeah, and just on the feedback, I knew I was going to get it on the Israel thing because I didn't use the word genocide. It is
Well,
a
I'm
it
not
is
laughing at you. I'm just saying,
it
yeah,
is a, it is
people
a
are setting you
war
straight.
with Palestine. It is a war with Lebanon, and it is soon to be a war with Iran. And make no mistake about it, um, the Israelis will not quit. Their stated state policy is to kill 10 people for every one Israeli that dies. So
Jesus.
when the Iranians and the Lebanese want to go ahead and continue to fight this fight, despite the fact it almost looks like Israel's wiped out all of Hezbollah, but maybe not.
Almost until they got their new leader in.
My point is that if Iran decides to step into this, what you think you guys see now, and I appreciate what you're saying, it's a genocide. They're
Yeah.
going door to door. They're moving Palestinians. They're killing them. Women and children are dying. I am
Yes.
not making light of that. What I'm saying is what you're seeing now is child's play to what you will see because you will have the Star
Wait,
of David flying over Tehran if the Israelis have their way.
you
And
guys, it's no joke.
nobody will stop them because nobody likes the Iranians. Nobody. And the
Here's
Russians can't and the Chinese won't.
Oh, and the Chinese won't. Exactly. So in perspective, every Israeli, every Yugoslavian, every American, every German, everybody in this world, there are good people. And I think we, the people in every country, those people, us people, everyone, no one wants that. This shit is created for political bullshit for some reason. And I don't understand. I do understand, but I don't understand every intricate why. No one likes war, but everyone will spit out why war is formed. It's for financial gain in a lot of ways. It's for loss and gains and control and power. And it's sad as fuck because we're losing every human life in every country. And every bad person is like a controlled puppet from I don't understand how the evilness even happens. A lot of it is religion. It is religion. And everyone has their beliefs in their own religion because I do. And some people don't believe in whatever their higher spirit or no spirit. But whatever that is at the end of the day, you have this thought process of loving, surviving, or just complete, they don't give a fuck and they just want to annihilate what's around them in this world. And that's destruction and what we're trying to persevere and survive. And all countries would love to come together on that beauty of just want to live their lives, right? And we're trying to see through just kind of fucking swim through the bullshit, right, Red? And just not trying to sway and make people believe what you do and call this person an idiot or this person can't run that country, but we all want what's going to all want what's we feel is best for the moment and what's going to take us to the next level of survival.
No. Yep.
I don't know. I just a lot of emotions there and just trying to be not trying to cater to anybody. Just those are my thoughts and how I
Well,
see it, this mess.
it's your experience and the way your life has been informed. We're both, obviously got strong roots in the military and
Mm,
your
man.
husband's been overseas. All my family members have been
Yeah.
overseas at this point. It's and they've seen some things that they've seen some things so we don't have to. And
Do you know what? That's what Alan says. He says, "Deb."
that's what I think about our military service people, Medusa. They see things that we don't have to. And that is why I appreciate them so much. And just so Mike knows, I've seen all your comments, Mike. This is a little different version of what we do on Medusa. So I appreciate all your questions, and I've got some of them saved. We'll ask them on a later episode.
Yeah.
But he wanted to tell Alan thank you for his service
Oh,
because it
thank
matters
you.
to him, and thank you to you because we all know as well, spouses and families are involved. You don't get around it. You don't get around it when all of a sudden husband, father, whatever is gone for 12 months, 16 months, 18 months. In the case of my brother-in-law in Afghanistan, one time got extended twice. 23 months he spent in that shithole. 23 months. So if you've got a roof over your head and an internet provider and you can listen to the sound of my voice and Medusa's voice, which is probably a better voice anyway, be thankful because you're not worried about someone blowing you up, while you're sleeping and these ethnic wars and all of this
Mm.
other sort of stuff here in the United States. But what we are concerned about, obviously, is the future of the country. And, like you said, everybody's involved now. And it may have been started with The Rock when he endorsed Biden in 2020. I don't know.
I think
But
that was shocking to a lot of people. That
it's
was a
been
nice
all over.
segue there. It was
Yeah.
it was shocking, like, "What?" Was it now,
Yeah.
that's a good segue to Batista. So, okay, so we all love Batista for his wrestling ability in WWE, right?
Oh,
And
he had a presence and a look, and he was older, but damn if the guy couldn't go inside the ring and beat Triple H 3 straight times in 2005, world champion,
yeah.
wrestled Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, John
Remember all of
Cena.
you that are putting him down now for wearing pearls, which is, hey, to each their own. Y'all cheered for him from before. So again, as I said, people change their views. So we're going to go back to The Rock and Batista, exactly what you said, Red. Here's the thing. People change. It shocked the world because Dwayne had 300 million followers or whatever, right? And when he did that, people were like, unfollow, unfollow, unfollow. He didn't give a shit at that point because he's already had his legs to stand on. He was at where he needed. And it's felt a little contrived, really, when he was on there with Biden and Harris. Do you remember that video?
It was
Yeah.
absolute trash with Biden calling him DJ. Get the hell out of here. Get the hell out of here. Come on,
Well,
bro. Do better. Do better.
whatever. Okay, so it's just like Trump and Taker. Okay, do better, whatever.
Yeah. Do
So,
better.
okay, so they're all hitting the pop culture. So we can honestly say then Biden started it.
Yeah. I mean, we could. Now, there've been, like in the early 2000s, and this is what was interesting. Rock was at the Republican National Convention. Of course, Linda McMahon's running for senator of Connecticut. I believe that was either 04 or 06. She ends up being in Trump's cabinet. So the wrestlers have gotten involved. The other thing is Vince McMahon is not around anymore to tell them not to do it, and they're
Yeah.
all retired and don't work for WWE anymore. It's not
Who don't?
the wrestlers that are
All of
making
these
their statements. Yeah.
No, they're under legend contracts.
They're not making towns, Deuce. Come on now. They're not making towns.
Still, if you're under a
Um,
legend contract, you're still representing a company.
yeah, I understand. You're on a Legends contract, and here we
Yes,
are
I
talking
am.
about politics.
And
But
I'm talking politics. Okay.
but the deal is what I was getting at. They're not making the Monday Night Raws and the SmackDown appearances every single week. but um, it is everybody's right to use their platform in their way. We talked about it with Logan Paul. He had 23 million YouTube followers. You don't think that was a good idea for Trump
But
to take
so
that
many people
interview?
are against celebrities using their platform to talk about politics, but it is I mean, you got Taylor Swift. I mean, hell, she uses her football player as a cookie cutter,
Yeah.
market
You,
platform, so what?
the dogs are coming in. That's all.
Oh,
The
what, your
old ones.
feet? You got let me see
No,
your feet.
no.
The
I'm
dogs.
wearing shoes because that's what we do here.
Whatever.
The dog had her injection yesterday for her arthritis, so she's limping around a little bit. She'll be okay tomorrow, but
Aw,
it's gotten too cold here, so she needs her shot. That's why she was taking her sweet time. But
poor
anyway,
thing.
oh, she's 11 and a half and fat and sassy and spoiled. So she'll make
Aw.
it just fine. But
Okay, go back to yeah, go ahead.
the Batista
So
thing, he's
yes.
come out as the Walls Harris, and that's
Like,
his
dropped 100 pounds, wearing
Harris Wall. I mean, look at
pearls.
him. Here he is, right here. That's
That's
not
him
the
to
Dave that's not the Dave Batista everybody
he's still a
remembers.
little stout there yet, though, I
Yeah.
think.
But
With the
yeah,
T-shirt tucked
he's
in, you got the
got some new
Gucci belt
yeah,
on.
yeah, he's got some fashion things he likes, and that's fine. I did read that he dropped a lot of the muscle mass because it was
Movie
easier for him to
parts.
get acting roles. Yeah,
Easier
yeah,
to get parts, yes.
yeah.
I
So
mean, you're
and
only
he's
booked in for certain parts when you're that big.
well, he was what, 6'4", 300 pounds at one point, so
Jesus.
that's a big man. He's a very large man, so it makes sense. And he's going to support Walls and Harris, and that's fine. Now, the
Yeah,
TikTok video I referenced, Undertaker says, make the right choice, or you can be like Dave Batista
Batista.
and vote Harris and
And
Walls.
waltz, or you can be
Yeah,
like a waltz. Yeah,
yeah,
and
and
then and be like what, Batista ended up like or something. I don't know what
yeah.
that handle was.
So he took a shot at him, and really the shot was unnecessary. But Batista had come out in a very, very forceful manner, endorsing Walls and Harris. I keep saying Walls. Let me get it right because she's on the front of the ticket. Harris and Walls.
Mm,
And we haven't even talked about the vice presidents. We don't have to. But um,
that's a
yeah,
whole nother
that's a
one.
whole nother thing. I think I think that Batista. This is
Could
my
be off
thing.
the gas now, yeah.
Yeah, use your platform. I don't care.
Yeah.
But give
Let's
me
have platforms like this
yeah, give me
where we're
information. Let's have conversation,
yeah,
that sort of
let's have
thing, you know?
conversations. Let's not dog somebody. Let's just give some, your opinions and then some facts. Let's have 10 questions, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So let's get back to DJ and Batista. So I find it interesting how much weight he lost for the movie roles that he stated that he wanted, wearing pearls and all, which he totally changed his view. So this is how exactly Dwayne came out when Biden first came out, right? He was all supportive of Biden, blah, blah, blah. I'm going with this, made this big speech. Then all of a sudden you see this transformation. And then all of a sudden DJ says, I'm not endorsing
I'm
anybody
not
this time.
endorsing anybody. Yeah.
Like, I'm out.
He came out
You
and he
know,
said he wasn't endorsing anybody. I don't know what type of social or political capital it cost him or money it may have cost him or anything like that. And when
probably
you
quite a bit because at that time he had some movies coming out and they were going over to China and stuff. Isn't that someone fact check for that? Because I think
that
when
may
he
be right.
endorsed, yeah, and just watch where the money is, people. It's an old saying, but watch where the money's going and what's happening. So at that time, you see all of that happening in the movies and John Cena and DJ and da 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 da, right? And then I'm just saying that. I'm not saying that is true or factual, but what I am saying factual is I think he had some movies coming out and it happened was in China and they were all pro blah blah blah. So, okay, I get it. But now Podesta is swinging that way. DJ's out and all of a sudden he's getting all of these. He's looking new. He's getting these roles. He's getting and I'm like, "Okay. All right. The glove fits."
Well, and when you're The Rock, let's be honest, one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, you can pretty much get away with whatever you want to get away with in terms of like
You
this
can
sort of
vote who
stuff.
you want
Yeah.
and say it out loud and
Uh,
not even miss a beat.
he doesn't have a whole lot. What am I trying to say? He doesn't have, there's not high stakes for him
Mm.
by
He's got legs to stand on.
making an endorsement. Exactly. Plus, he sits on the TKO board, and he's very, very, very influential. Now, I don't know
Mhm.
how The Rock's going to vote. I'm obviously Batista's very public about his
Mhm.
decision, as was the Undertaker and Kane, and everybody
And
has
Hulk.
their own reasons. But the one thing I've always believed in is believe whatever you believe, but justify and support that belief.
Yeah. If
Support it.
again,
Don't
back to what you said, circling back to the beginning, do what fits you.
blind faith or blind trust, it's not anything. I think it was Thomas Aquinas that said the unexamined faith is not worth living. Um,
Mm.
and then it was someone else who said the unexamined life is not worth living. So, um, challenge, question, what do you believe? What do you see?
What do
Why
you
does it make
see?
sense or why doesn't it make sense?
Do we have any
Uh,
questions out there that you wanna bring forward? Is there any that
there's
you grabbed?
I let me see here.
A month ago.
I know there's some people then, and I think that they're correct along with the movies as the health. So here's one from Force of Will. When it
Okay.
comes to your peers in the industry making political misstatements for either side, do you differentiate them from the characters they play? So that was kind of the Cornette thing.
Wow,
But,
yeah.
but is Kevin Nash the Biden Harris supporter or Biden Wall supporter? Well, I'll try that again. The Harris Wall supporter, Kevin Nash the businessman, Kevin Nash the person, a little bit of both.
Well, I mean, all around, he's still, I mean, never
And I use
changed.
Kevin Nash for
Arrogant, arrogance,
pick Mick.
arrogance.
Let's say Mick Foley. Let's say Mick Foley. Is it still the same person?
I've seen anger out of him coming the Trump presidential the first time, though. He was getting, and he had to say, I have to leave the platform. He actually
Mhm.
left the platform because he was getting out of hand and he knew it. And so that was a side I saw of him of the real internal, which I'm glad that he caught himself and, because there's a point where you don't need to put it out there anymore. Right.
Right.
So I don't think that was him. I think it was him getting just, we saw the old saying, people would say the Karens or the Shirleys or the whatever the people were becoming, and he was becoming,
Well,
one
and
of
it's a
that.
tough and it's tough when you see it every single day, and God forbid you like or
Yeah,
retweet something because
because
now
you
you're
really
gonna
like this person as his character in wrestling, and I
yeah.
can understand people when they say, "Stick to wrestling, stick to acting, or stick to your music," right? Because I enjoyed you then. Because now when I hear you crying or bitching about whatever of what I do believe in or don't, it just spoils that hero I had. I get it. It's a very difficult situation, but remember these are humans too, guys.
Yep.
And out of Foley's defense, he's a human, and in just because of what he did, remember those are characters, all right? And this is his real personal, you know, feeling when he brings that out. So if that's really him, you still can enjoy his character, and I know it's hard to separate that. It really is.
Well,
But
and one thing I know because I've worked with Foley before, had the pleasure of meeting him in 2022, um, at one of the conventions that I was working. One thing you know about Foley is he is genuinely a nice guy to
he
the point
is.
where those of us working with him had to tell him, "Hey, Mick, you got 200 people in this line. You're gonna have to pick up the pace with your meet and greets," because
He gives to people.
he
Like,
was giving people
he'll
5 and 10 minutes, and I'm like, and it wasn't me that had to tell him, thank God. We're like, "Mick, you gotta get this line moving. You're gonna run out of time." Because you know how those things are, Medusa. You've been to the
ugh,
convention circuit.
I know,
You're
I
gonna
get
have
heckled about the same thing.
line out the damn door, and there are the guys that only do the handshake, the kiss, the hug, the autograph, "Bye, see ya,"
Yeah,
the
thank
photo,
you.
whatever.
That's
But
$50. Thank you.
Mick Foley is not that person. So anybody who listens to me, loves wrestling, whatever, Mick Foley is worth meeting, worth paying the money to meet at any convention that he's available. If you want to meet him, go meet him. And there's our free plug for beating up on Mick tonight a little bit, or questioning what he said. But um, He had to be told to hurry up because he's so nice, Medusa. He's not going to tell anyone,
Yes.
get the hell out of
You
here, you
guys,
know?
Mick is a nice guy.
He's
He
so
really is.
nice.
He
And,
wouldn't
and Trump is not. Let's face it. Trump is not.
Oh!
So
Okay,
what I was getting at
here's
is
a good segue to him not being.
some of that might be personality, was all I was saying.
Yes, you let his personality rub on you. So here's a good segue into Trump's not a good person. Okay.
I said he wasn't
And
a nice person.
A nice person, whatever.
Yeah.
You don't think he's nice?
Hell no. But I get told I'm not nice, so it's okay.
So what personally do you not think why Trump is not nice? Why is he not a nice person? I want to know what he did that you feel that he's not a nice person. Just one thing. One thing.
The name calling, the mockery, the outright outlandish things that he says and does. The way he conducted his businesses, the way he left people holding the bag.
What bag?
And I'm not saying
the ball bag?
Nice people, investments. The nice people aren't supposed to be president of the United States either. Grandmothers we talked about, top of the show, worked for Jimmy Carter. Nicest man in the world. Probably the most moral and ethical person you'll ever meet in your life.
Jimmy Carter, the peanut guy.
Absolute shitty president. And I told my grandmother that when she was still alive, but it's true. And I've got handwritten letters from him to her, which is really cool. It's a really good keepsake.
Oh my God, that is so cool.
Awesome. I have her badge or medallion too from
I would love to see it
from the convention.
I would love to see him. Oh, that would be so cool.
I'll have to dig him out. But I say all that to say Carter didn't know his head from a hole in the ground in terms of Middle Eastern foreign policy.
But he knew a peanut farm?
But he knew a peanut farm and he knew how to talk to people. Being nice doesn't qualify you to be president of the United States, Medusa, but he's certainly not a nice person. Also
so
a philanderer, cheated on his
business. Let's hold on. Zip it. Okay, I got one.
Cheated on his wife.
So here's a good okay. That's okay. So those are things that you think, that you feel, that you may know, that bother you, that because you don't think he's a nice person. So let me get to this. So do you believe it's true that Trump fired all of his employees at the Taj Mahal and not paid them because he just did it because he's not a nice guy? Tell me about the Taj Mahal incident.
I don't know about the Taj Mahal incident. That's
so why did you mention it?
I didn't mention it.
Yes, you did. You guys. Bullshit, he did, didn't he? Mention Taj Mahal.
I said investments, and Mick Foley mentioned the Taj Mahal, or Kevin Nash did.
When I asked you, give me things that why you didn't like him, you said Taj Mahal.
Oh, I did not say Taj Mahal. No, that wasn't
we're gonna have to play that back.
Go ahead. No, but I mean, he's terrible. He's terrible.
Whatever. Okay. So here's the thing. So that was one of Mick Foley's that he said he had all the proof on, him not paying his people. I'm trying to find my fact checking here on that. Court, Taj Mahal Casino highly ended worker benefits. It's because they filed for bankruptcy and the court sided with the Taj Mahal Casino. The wages could not be paid because the company had no money to pay their workers. It's not Trump. Trump didn't decide not to pay. He long before that, or whoever did, filed for bankruptcy. So that's what I mean. And he got this from, I think it was at NPR or Vox, one of the two. So that's what I mean. You know what I'm saying? I understand the understanding here. Well, that's still Trump and he did it to them. But that's shitty. Someone files bankruptcy. Been there. Not me. I've never filed bankruptcy. But I had a company file bankruptcy that owed me lots of money. And because they filed bankruptcy, I was on the bottom list of everyone else trying to get their money and I never fucking got paid. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's a horrible feeling.
Yeah, so
what?
His company's filed bankruptcy, he did not. That's his favorite line.
Yes.
On that issue.
Yes.
Despite the fact he's the chairman CEO, owner, whatever.
So how
He
did he get into
he
bankruptcy for
never
it to
filed he never filed bankruptcy, his companies did. So, I mean, you're really splitting hairs there from my point of
right?
view.
Yes.
Um, and yeah, it's a shitty thing. Somebody owes you a lot of money and they file bankruptcy and they're protected. They're legally protected and you're out.
It depends
You're
on
out.
what
Yeah,
chapter 13,
13
11,
or
12,
7,
13,
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
the hell it is.
Yeah, I guess it'd be 11 for
Wow.
businesses, right? Because it's 7
Yeah.
and 13 for personal.
But then you choose and you can pay some back. I don't know. I know Eric Bischoff filed bankruptcy, and I don't know what that one. Maybe it was more of a personal and business. Maybe he would be a good one to have on and ask how that works. You know what I mean? Just to get some real legitimacy on there.
Yeah. Let me address something real quick, Medusa from Mad GTV again. He says that's a lot of negative criticism on former President Carter. Yes, sir. That was a lot of negative criticism on former
Did you
President
hear his
Carter,
relationship with Carter, Mad G?
who I believe mismanaged the response to the Middle East, particularly the Iranian hostage crisis, where 454 days hostages were held by the Iranians, and not released until Reagan took office. And the reason he wasn't released is because the Ayatollah was not going to deal with the American cowboy. Those are Khamenei's words. The man who
Ayatollah
foment
was not going to deal with any.
the man who fomented revolution from Paris, France for 15 years before finally launching the Iranian Revolution. This is what my undergraduate thesis was on. This is why I'm so
Woo!
critical of Jimmy Carter. And it's okay. It's good. It's
Yeah,
cool. I mean, but I also have a familial personal connection to Jimmy Carter. And by the way,
got
he
it,
thought
Mad Mods.
voting in this year's election was more important than anything else, and he's done so by mail in case anybody hadn't seen that. So Jimmy Carter has already voted. And the other thing,
So
did Carter appeal to people that say we should mind our own business as it relates to foreign policy? Unfortunately, and I don't know how to say your username, I think it's Chris Morale, that is it. Um, During the Cold War, there was no that's not our business. It was us and it was them. From the day
mhm,
the Germans stepped foot or the Russians stepped foot in Germany till the day we
Russians.
dropped the
Yeah.
atomic bomb and until December 25th, 1991. But the United States was a far better nation during the Cold War, and we were a far safer nation. We were a more competitive nation, and we did not rest and rely on our own laurels and self.
Yeah, of course, Mad G, there's a lot more to it than we probably will know. There's always gonna be deep stuff we never know. There's just, like, a lot of truths that need to come out that people want answers, and why can't we have it? What about the JFK murder? We all know.
Yeah, I mean, and then there's a lot of conspiracies if you're talking about the fact that his national security advisor and secretary of defense couldn't agree upon the proper strategy to go into Iran. If you're
To
talking
go
about the pissing contest between the Army and the Air Force that stemmed from the Vietnam War and the way that ended, yes, sir, there are lots of conspiracy theories. I 100% agree with you. If you're talking about the way this country from 1953 until 1979 supported Shah Reza II, who was a totalitarian dictator who executed people in the streets of Tehran for anybody that disagreed with him. You are
anybody in
100%
Tehran.
correct.
Yes.
100% correct. There's plenty of conspiracy theories, and I may not have all the information. Uh, if
That
you're
was
looking for a
nasty.
if you're looking for a source, Mad GTV, the National Security Archives at George Washington University has all of the unredacted documents available concerning that particular instance, as well as the rest of the Iranian hostage crisis. By the way, what came from the Iranian hostage crisis is called Islamofascism. This belief that Muslim fascists that want the elimination of Israel, the United States, and all of their allies can go ahead and do what they will. Do you know what that means for us?
That
September
means
11th, 2001.
yes, I was gonna
That's what
say
that
that
means for
is
us.
that is
So
New York all over again, guys.
that
That
is the
is
consequences of not understanding the moment upon which you are in. And I will not be unburdened by what has been because you will not
what has
learn
been has
from that.
been.
Exactly.
Okay, Kamala. I will not
I threw that in for
ever
you.
I know you did. Thank you very much. Yeah. I will not be burdened from what has been that was burdened from what will be that has been burdened from now. Okay.
Correct.
Oh, you are the best. You are the best.
Correct.
Okay, fact checker, what did you say? History may or may not repeat itself, but it does rhyme. Woo! Let's just square that off. Red, you wear the name well.
I do.
On
I
that
do.
one, on that last
I
one, you
do.
do, my dear.
Oh, the only reason I ever started
You're
studying
very
history.
passionate about that because that was your, well, everything that you've studied, your theses, and then it went into a whole diatribe, not a bad one, but a
Well,
lot I could relate to. Yes. I mean, if you want to continue on that whole leg,
no, the only thing I was going to say is the reason I became a political scientist and historian, and then now sell cars. Um, that was because of a job issue due to an economic freeze on GS jobs back in 2010. But the
mm.
reason that I started studying political science and history is because of 9/11. It is that simple. It's
So
that simple.
do you believe 9/11? Do you believe 9/11?
Oh yeah, I'm not one of them conspiracy theorists that believe the government did it. No. No, I believe that operatives that the CIA helped train in 1986 and gave Stinger missiles to and funded because they were the most radical elements of the Mujahideen to bring down the Cold War or the Soviet Union by way of proxy war.
Yes.
I believe they were absolutely responsible for some of that training and whatnot, but I
And
do
how
not
many
believe the
years?
American
It's not
government did it.
it takes years and years, and this was planning at least 10, 15 years in the
Oh yeah,
making.
in
Don't even
1993
think, guys, it
In
just happened.
1993, they took a truck in the basement of the World Trade Center and they tried to
Yes,
blow it up and blow the World
blow it
Trade
up.
Center up that way. Then they figured out with the Hamburg cell in Germany that if they flew planes with full tanks of fuel, it had be a missile fly them into the World Trade Center and create an 8 magnitude earthquake. You're going to get those buildings to collapse and fall, and that's what
No,
happened.
no. You don't think
3,000
that
people
there
died.
was help besides an airplane?
I don't believe the United States government did that. No,
I
ma'am.
didn't ask you that. I asked you, didn't you do you think there was help besides an airplane in bringing those towers down? Stop reading the comments.
No, I do not.
So you honestly think that it was just an airplane with many years of planning that brought down each building, and when BBC was doing an interview saying that the building fell before it even fell.
Oh yeah, I've seen that video. Yeah.
Okay,
But I
can you
don't
explain that?
no, I don't believe it.
You don't believe BBC really did
I
that?
don't believe anybody had anything to do with it outside of the terrorists.
Why did BBC run that interview?
I don't know.
Okay. This is a whole
That's a
great.
whole 'nother story.
Okay,
I
this is good. Okay.
I don't
I
I
love
don't
it.
know. I don't know, but
Okay.
what I do know is when you've got that much jet fuel in a full plane and you're flying
Mhm.
hundreds of miles an hour and you hit the building, and it continues to burn said jet fuel
For how it's like almost like what, 40 minutes was one?
almost an hour at
An
one, yeah.
hour? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and it's a very delicate subject because a lot of
And
us
there
knew people, a lot of us had family, a lot of us
yeah.
had friends, coworkers had families, so it's not taken lightly, and, we should never forget, and I will never forget because I was part of an amazing crew of people called America's Ride, and we all got together and rode our Harleys from LA to New York the next year and raised money intermittently through every state and, received, the keys from the mayor to the, state and until we got to the, every 9/11 site, um, and it was the most I can't even explain. I just did a commercial for Tunnel to Towers a couple weeks ago, and, so a lot has been said there, and you guys will see it out probably in a couple months, if not less, and, it's all about the great story and how Tunnel to Towers actually came about, and how his brother wasn't working that day, and it actually happened, and he ran home and said, "I've got to do this," and the fireman got his gear decided to go help and pulled people out.
Yeah, if you,
And he went into his last one, and it collapsed on him, and it was horrible, and his brother, and they all started Tunnel to Towers, and it's one of the greatest organizations and what they do and provide for our first responders and military. Amazing organization.
Yeah, same, and this is for anybody listening, the same place, George Washington Archives, National Security Archives, George Washington University, has all sorts of information on the Taliban file, that sort of thing. One thing that you'll find in there is the Plan Medusa: attack early in the morning, attack on a Tuesday, weekday. They want it a weekday, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
They had so many things that they had done, that they had pre-planned.
yeah.
Um,
Do you know that a couple of the pilots were right here in Miami training for months?
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
right here.
yeah, in the Midwest too. And nobody asked questions and that sort of thing. So, I mean, it's a tragedy, but like you said, good did come out of it with that Tunnels to Towers,
Got a lot of others, absolutely.
and for my generation, and I know you're older than I am, but this applies to you too. This is our
Is
Pearl
it by
Harbor.
looks or just our age?
Yeah, this is our Pearl Harbor, though. Genuinely, this is that once
Yeah.
in a lifetime catastrophic moment that you'll never forget ever. You know, I mean, and we've had others. Mount St. Helens exploded, the Challenger went up, blew
Yes,
up and
yes,
that sort of
yes.
stuff. Hell, we all saw something this year that I've never thought I'd see in my lifetime, and that's a former president of the United States being shot in an
Not
attempted
once. Was
assassination.
it once
Yeah.
or twice?
Well, it apparently twice, but I mean, we saw the one on television, and my
And again, I'm amazed by people just not if it was a different president, it would be front page news all the time, and
yeah.
things would be done or changed. But I think because people hate this man so much because of whatever their reasons are, because of all the things you mentioned why you don't like him, it's become a hatred thing where it's turned violent, and that to me is dangerous, and especially the control of social media.
Well, and when you use words like threat to democracy, danger to the future of the country, the American
He
people are in jeopardy,
Yeah,
you
he's a
start
threat, yeah.
using these loaded words to describe either Trump or Harris.
Yes.
Completely irresponsible. It is
Very irresponsible.
completely
That
irresponsible.
if they would dial back these parties, you know, I'm not saying it would change, but it's already out of hand. I don't know how you get control of that shit show.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Alright.
see, like, we'll call it a shit show, that's one thing because there's no real denying that, but when you're saying that somebody's gonna do this or that or something else and, um, yeah, that the the eliciting violence is unacceptable in a
Yeah,
country that's
yeah,
built
very
on
much so.
law and order. Because contrary to popular belief, when you look into the structures of government, you've got law and order, and you got freedom, and you've got equality. Those are the three ways that every society across the world's
Yes.
been built.
Law and
E-
order is very important.
Law and order and freedom. It's John Locke versus Thomas Hobbes, and that's the classical argument of Western philosophy.
Right.
Guess what was never in there?
What
Equality. Equality was never a
equality.
consideration.
I
So,
believe on hiring well, again, too, in a whole nother I believe in hiring people on what they're skilled in, not just on a DEI project. You know what I'm saying?
yep,
Absolutely. And I just believe if you're qualified, then you should get hired. I think
correct.
that it's important to understand and have the not the equality, but the equalness of certain situations. But again, there we go into the whole university thing though too, and that's why it kind of started. It wasn't it in the universities? And is because people felt that people were so advanced in China and other countries that they were getting all of the benefits in the universities and getting chosen. So maybe they felt that there was only a percentage that should have. Maybe that's what started it. Do you think?
Yeah, and the other thing is we're so far behind in this country educationally
Oh, our school
to
system. Oofta.
India and China alone, and
Mm,
it's not me bitching about it, it's me making an observation. Their scores, their abilities, their testing, it's all
yeah.
so much greater than ours, and it's unfortunate.
So to wrap this up, because I feel that we have other subjects that we've absolutely tapped into, Red, that we can talk about. I think we've had a great night. I really do. And I see a lot of subjects people want to talk about, and we can get more individual about certain subjects. But I wanted to open this up to have a great platform to talk about both political parties, all political parties. And you said the vice presidents are another one. So,
Mhm.
but again, that would include Harris. But um, I think I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you
Yeah.
for everyone to listen, just listening and having a voice, having an opinion, listening to ours, and it's been good. And Red, thank you for your
Oh, you're very
knowledge,
welcome.
your
Thank you.
wisdom, and all of this, the years that you took, that you did learning and, just spreading your knowledge that you have has been so informative. I thrive on this. This is so good. I think it's so healthy. And I think if you can have platforms like this where you have true communication, I think this is all that people want. Again, people are not going to agree to a lot of things. And I think it's okay. It's okay, guys. You can't, you can't agree with everyone just to agree. That's what we
Right.
were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. I
It's
mean,
healthy.
don't ever give anybody a rubber stamp. They don't deserve it. No one has ever.
Oh, right.
No one in your life in any instance that you have ever encountered deserves a rubber stamp.
Do you know
No
what it
one.
is? I wanna say this though too, is that a lot of people are scared. And
Yep.
for a lot of time, I keep quiet on a lot of things,
Oh,
and
I know. Yeah.
because
Yeah. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's because, you know, there are levels in life, and you know your role, Tootsie Roll, right? However, I will never back down to a good conversation. I will never change or sell my integrity, because I could have done that a long time ago in this business and I chose not to. And it's not going to happen even in politics or my home life or anything like that. And it shouldn't. It's the core of you.
Mhm.
Really, your character is a true quality, and it speaks volumes on every level of uh communication, on your podcast, on interviews, on lectures in school, your friends, your family. And a lot of people can play a game and they can have a front, where a lot of people think politics are, which, okay, it's a show. But I think that um this has been so enlightening, because it doesn't change the value I have of my coworkers that we spoke about. Like, but we know where they stand, or
Yep.
I do. And I have choices. Either I want to hang with them or have small talk, or just have that friendship still that I have. Those are good quality people that you want. You don't want a room of the same people of you in one room. You know how fucking boring that would be?
Yeah.
I
Exactly.
want people like you and me and Fully and Taker and DJ and a bad guy, and a good guy. I want the Kamalas, and I want these. This is the room where I know how to mold, and I think having some great people in there would just be fantastic. Anyway, I just
Yeah.
love stuff like that.
Yeah. It was very, very good.
Yeah, thank you, and
And
thank you to the mods in the back and the fact
yeah,
checkers. Thank you, and the fans. And I was supposed to stream tonight on my Twitch channel, but hey,
here
we're
we are.
kinda there. We're kinda there. Here we are.
But she'll stream with you guys again soon, I'm sure, because
Yes.
it's still Halloween month, which means,
Wow, it's horror flicks. I am a
yeah.
horror flick girl. My husband hates me right now.
Ah,
I am like
I would hate
everything.
you too, because I hate horror movies. Like, I
You
just I'm not a
I don't
fan.
hate
No, not
horror
at
movies.
all. Not at
Thanks
all.
to thanks to my one thanks to my techie mod, fucking Digi, he turned me on to this channel called Chiller Theater, 24/7 horror flicks. Dude, it is the best.
Yeah, if I was Sarge, I would hate your ass too, since you found that out.
Whatever.
And I'd hate Digi too. I'd send him extra care package of hatred. Uh,
Okay, I can take hate. That was my life. Hate was my life. Oh my god. So is there anything you wanna say to the people before we go and blah, blah, blah? Next Wednesday is Halloween Eve. Yes, it
Well,
is.
thank you all very much. Appreciate your time.
Aw.
Appreciate your listening
Yes.
and your engagement, your questions. Hopefully, if we do this again, we'll have more questions.
What, are you
Um,
scared? You're not scared.
I'm
We're gonna do this
I'm
again.
I ain't scared of shit.
You know what? Maybe
Yeah.
we should have a follow-up. Let's have a follow-up after the election.
Oh, God help us.
Ever
And that could be what we do is have a follow-up after this. Because I just really need to get canceled. So anyway,
Whatever it is, may the best person win.
correct. And we would invite you all to that, and maybe we'll plan it. So you know what? Let's go
Yeah,
ahead and
let's
put it on
do
the
it.
books. Put it on the
Oh,
book.
thank you. Because I wanna okay, guys, this will be really good. So we're all gonna meet again after the election.
And it may
And
be a few days or week because
yeah, yeah,
it's already
okay.
said
Let's
election
get it
night, we
moving
probably
to see
won't
what
know. Yeah.
happens.
Yeah.
'Cause let's call okay, let's call it. Let's call it. Everybody out there, everyone there, let's call what's gonna happen after the election if Kamala's elected or Trump is elected. Let's make it official here. Okay, let's go first. If Kamala is elected, I feel that the right wing will feel that, "Oh my god, there's gonna be a civil war," right? Which is crazy. I feel that if Kamala is elected, that some people may also think that the world is gonna end and that bad things are gonna happen. Now, due to not just Kamala happening, but I think because it's been ingrained from that party to put out there that that's what they're going to do. But I don't think that party is actually going to do that. I think they're going to make choices to make sure that don't happen and that this party they people feel that if Kamala is elected that we lost our way, that we lost everything about America. Now, that's how I feel that's how people are thinking. Now I feel that if people feel that if Trump is elected, that they just won the lottery. I feel that people feel that it's going to save them, like he's their savior. Like, I feel that they're going to feel, rich again in whatever that richness is. Like, they're gonna be able to eat, they're gonna be able to pay their bills, they're gonna be able I feel like they feel like that life is gonna be back and America is going to be strong and healthy and blah, blah, blah. So and I feel like the party may feel that on the other side, but there's a lot of different changes. But I will call this, I think that the only way that they feel that Trump may be elected is that one party thinks that there's going to be interference and cheating and all this, and we're gonna see some shit go on, like, I think in the next few days, like we've never seen unfold, unfucking fold what's going to happen. I just because I don't think we've ever seen what is happening, like you said, Red, what is happening. And I think
Mhm.
that there's gonna I don't know. I think that there is going to be chaos in both areas, not just isolated because of the areas, but there's gonna be destruction, and whose ever fault it is, there's just gonna be chaos, and they're gonna blame it on each other, and it's gonna be unsettling.
Yeah,
And
you're much kinder than I am on this because I've
Okay,
left it.
I'm not done, and it's gonna be unsettling to where I think that there are gonna be things that happen where a lot of people think a certain party's in bed with Putin or in bed with, Ukraine,
Yep,
and so
Zelensky. Yep.
Zelensky, and I think that's where shit's gonna start to part.
Mhm.
Uh, a lot of people think, "Be prepared." There's gonna
Mhm.
be blackouts, there's gonna be a change in the weather, there's gonna be all these conspiracy theories things happening. I really believe that there's a lot of control and a lot of statements made. So I know just me and my feeling, it's only my opinion, that we are gonna see something that it's gonna unravel like we haven't seen. And if that is all the shit coming forth about people being pedophiles and creeps that are gonna finally be exposed to all of the stuff, there's gonna be what I'm saying is there's gonna be so much exposed before this election, up until the election and thereafter to create havoc like we've never seen. Have we ever seen any of this shit, Red? No.
Today, the vice president of the United States stood in front of her residence, which apparently is illegal because of it's a campaign thing.
Today?
Yeah, and called Donald Trump a Nazi or compared him to one.
Wait,
Because
what?
Because Hitler said Trump said he wanted his generals to be like Hitler, reportedly. Now, some of that apparently has already been debunked, but what I'm
Yeah.
saying is,
Okay.
that isn't what we're used to seeing in this country. One candidate
No.
calling the other a Nazi or a
No, that's
Nazi sympathizer or whatever you want to say.
God, can it quit already?
I am all for them dropping the Epstein list already. And if they've got the Diddy Party list,
I'm against
that.
Yeah.
Drop that too, because I
Come
want
on,
them all.
people.
I want all these people out. I want all of these pedophiles to be known for who they are. All you
Yeah.
creeps and freaks that have been controlling this country as part of a global cabal for a long time.
And control over everybody's
hell outta here.
career. Can you believe how many people would speak out
And
if
since
they
we have
had legs to stand on?
since you have your prediction,
Yes.
this is mine.
Oh.
In 2020, during the height of a pandemic,
Yes.
an incumbent president
Mhm.
won an election with the highest voter turnout in American history.
Trump.
Biden
Trump.
won the election in 2020.
Didn't he have the favors, though?
Biden won an incumbent election in 2020. Typically, when you look at history, what you see in terms of elections is that when an incumbent is in office, the voter turnout goes down, not up. And on top of that, you've added a global pandemic. And then somebody wants reasonable people that live in this country to believe 81 million people voted for Joe Biden and 75 million people voted for Donald Trump.
How does that happen?
It's absolute bullshit. It did not
Where
happen.
are the people?
Could not happen. Would not happen. And
Venezuela all over again.
And this is where the Trump thing
I
came
don't know.
from. Back to the Undertaker. Just a minute. He says he wants one day of voting, not early voting. He thinks that we should be able to all vote in one day. That's it. No mail-in, no ballots, whatever.
Except for military and
I don't care how you do it, but let's be honest about it. 150 million people did not vote in 2020 during a fucking pandemic. Period.
Okay.
End of discussion.
Especially in the middle of the night, though, too.
Well, I don't care when they voted. It didn't happen.
Oh.
Could not happen. Would not happen. 40% of the country's population voted in the 2020 election, the highest voter turnout in history. Stop it. Stop it.
Okay. Okay. So,
and you and I, Ma GTV, we will disagree.
They voted, even though you don't believe it. They
absolutely do not believe it, sir. Do not believe it. Would love to see the voter. Would love to see the voter rolls for all 150 million people.
Okay, here's a question for everybody. So you have to be 18 or 21 to drink in some countries, correct? Correct.
You have to be 21 to smoke in this country.
Okay, it's 21 to smoke. And you have to be how old to go into the military? 18.
18.
So when you travel, do you have to show them ID? Yes.
You have to show them ID in this state if that's where you're going, ma'am. In North Carolina, they passed the law.
Yeah. So when you travel, you have to show ID no matter what.
Yep.
Okay. So when you travel, you have to show ID.
Can't get on a plane without it. No, ma'am.
You can't get on a plane unless you have ID. So I feel that if you're going to vote in this country, you should have a voter's ID or an ID, driver's license, voter ID, something. You need an ID to vote. That's what I feel. What do you feel, Red?
100%.
I do. I don't
I
think that you
I
don't.
was thrilled to death when I voted in the primary this year, and they asked me for my ID.
Yeah. And they said, "Who the hell are you, Big Red?
Yeah,
What?
correct.
Show me your feet." Okay. No,
Absolutely not.
not. People are you think I have your foot fetish or something. I
Yeah,
don't. He just won't show his feet.
nope.
It's so weird because he said he doesn't get pedicures or
It's a
something. I don't know.
weird request. Let's be
Whatever. We have
honest.
a lot of foot fetish people out there that want to see your feet, you weirdo. Okay, so
Does it pay? Because we're
well,
broke.
just go look on your little Tinder thing there, my dear.
Oh, shit.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Listen, you whatever. I will only I bit my tongue. I'll save it till after this. Remind me about this little thing and I'll tell you what I was gonna call you. Okay.
One mic conversations, it was illegal in the state of North Carolina to ask somebody for an ID in order to vote until most recently, I think 22 or
What
maybe
was
even
that?
23.
You just read that? No.
One mic conversations asked me or asked us, were you never asked for ID before when voting? No, I was not. I've never been asked. Up until
Guys, there's
up,
something wrong with that. If
up
our young
until
men can go in the military
up until the
and
primary.
or young men and women, excuse me, do we need voter ID? You need to be how about an American citizen? Do you feel that you should be an American citizen to vote for an American president?
Absolutely.
I do too.
Absolutely.
I think you
Now,
should be an American
if you live in an
citizen.
American territory, like a Puerto Rico as an example, fine.
Mm.
You can vote. You're still an American citizen. You have citizenship. But if you're not an American citizen, you absolutely have no business voting in any election contested in this country.
And I agree with that. So what about here's a sticky one. What if you're getting your green card and you're in the between?
Nope. Don't have it.
You don't have your citizenship yet.
Don't have it.
What if you have a dual citizenship?
Yes, can vote.
You can vote still.
Because
Dang.
you live in both countries, theoretically, you should be able to have a say in what happens in both nations. Because you're paying the taxes of both
Whoa.
countries, you're holding residence in
Are
both
you though?
countries.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you should be legally, yes, ma'am. And one mic
Are you?
conversations just for this question.
Yes.
Oh, good. Well, thank you for
Thank
that. I
you very
apologize.
much,
I'm gonna
one
put
Mike.
that back up. When registering, did you need your ID? Yes, sir, I did because they needed to be able to spell my name and address correctly. And this is from Rob's Pimpin' Road. Good, thoughtful, interesting, and open conversation.
What's up,
Thank
Rob?
you so much.
Thank you. It's a good closing statement. Yes.
But yes, that was all I was saying is yeah, I'm all for ID. If you're not an American citizen, you don't have the right to vote in this country.
Nope.
And that's one of the benefits of becoming an American citizen.
Citizen. So, and this will go to like Thunder Rosa. I'll never forget. She fought many, many years to become a citizen, a U.S.
Mhm.
citizen. And when she did, she was so excited. She's from I forgot where she's where's she from I don't know. Mexico, right?
Yeah,
So Thunder Rosa, well, from Mexico, but I don't know where in Mexico. But
Guadalajara or something.
so
Maybe
she
not.
fought so hard, like 4 years. She had to go through everything. This was not handed to her. Here is a full-blooded Mexican that worked her way to become a US citizen, and she's in our business, and I respect her. I respect her for doing that.
Yep.
What do you feel real quick about I love the law that, we have a lot of people crossing over to have their baby and they automatically become American citizens for that purpose.
Oh, so you're asking me about quote anchor babies.
Anchor babies, yeah, it's 2, and so
Which is
I
a very
feel
unflattering term, but yes.
but anchor babies, to be exact, that they are come over here, they know what they're doing, they're having their baby, they become US citizens, so at birth, they're their mother, they can become a US citizen as well.
Rob's
Yes.
tells us it was Tijuana, not Guadalajara. That's my bad. Thank you, Rob.
Okay.
So on that
Okay,
issue,
thank you.
that issue for me is very sticky because, quite frankly, I am supportive of giving amnesty to those 14 million people that were here prior to the last 5 years, as long as they take the steps to be American citizens. If you're born in this country, you're an American citizen. That does not mean your mother is or your father is. It means that they're allowed to stay here. But as I said today on X,
And work towards
a path
becoming a US citizen.
thank you, a path to citizenship
Yes.
and border security are not mutually exclusive. You can have both when done properly. But the immigration system, as I heard from our sitting vice president the other day, has been broken for 40 years. And she's probably correct. However, the law reads baby's born here, baby's an American citizen. That does not apply to the parents. Put them on a path to citizenship or send them home.
Yeah,
And then you
just
say, "Well,
because their
Andrew, you just
child's
said the
here. Yeah.
American." Well,
There's a
yeah,
lot
but I
that needs
bet
to
you
be
threatened to
changed there.
send those I bet you threatened to send those parents home, and all of a sudden they're much more interested in becoming an American citizen. Because the other thing is, they're not gonna have the baby here and then leave. The intention is to stay. So if your intention is to stay, become a tax-paying American citizen.
So the 14
Follow
million
the
people
laws,
that have
don't do
crossed
anything
the
wrong.
border within the last, let's just say hypothetically, the
Well, the
last
14 million was before the 2016 election, so I don't know what the number is now. But I
What
am
is
100%
approximately, fact checkers, what is approximately the number of people since the Biden-Harris that have crossed the border? Approximately. So, do you feel that all of those people that cross the border should, you just said, you feel that they should be able to stay if they want to become American citizens? And we pay for everything? Do you know where a lot of that money is going, is supporting that, Red?
hold on, I
And
was reading a comment. What were you saying? Ask me the question again.
everybody that had crossed the border,
Mhm.
you feel that they should be able to stay.
How long have they been here? If they've been here 20 years and they're American citizens and they're already indoctrinated into American culture simply because they've lived here for 2 decades, absolutely pull the
No, I'm
trigger.
talking
You're
about
going back.
the debacle in the last few years with the
Oh,
borders open.
no, absolutely not. They don't deserve amnesty. What I'm talking about is people with
The
established roots,
amnesty laws need to change here.
established jobs, and I understand, um, Chris Morale, that is it. I think that Morales, that is it. I absolutely understand, because of my job, we specialize in helping new arrivals to the country. We have a department that does that. I understand all the papers they need to buy a car. I can't imagine the papers they need for American citizenship. But we're talking ITNs, we're talking temporary work visas, we're talking all of that stuff. They have to be able to prove that they're here legally. So I get it. I apologize if I was insensitive. I wasn't trying to be. What I'm saying is let's follow the legal routing process to make this possible. And
Just
by
like
the
any
way,
look at the other
to,
countries.
to
They
his
won't
point,
even allow people. Do you know you can't even buy land? I when I lived in Japan, I wanted to buy land. I couldn't.
well, to his point, make it fucking easier for people if they want to become American citizens to become American citizens. I'm not talking about
Hold on one second. Yep.
let in all the bad people. What I'm saying is, if they've got all the proper documentation and they're legal and they want to become an American citizen, don't hamstring them along for 10 years and then wonder why a coyote brought them over for
Yes.
all of the money they ever made in their lives in a most dangerous way. And then they got detained or arrested or shot or something else. It ain't cool.
Wow. Okay, what'd you say, fact checker? So you're saying about 8 million people crossed the border within the last couple years within the Biden-Harris? Okay. And 1.2 gotaways. 1.7. That is very concerning to me.
25%. There is 22%.
That ought to really concern Americans. And I don't know why people think that's okay. But people say, well, they want a life. They need to get away. They're being raped. They're being this. They're being that. but it's that there's a way to do it, but it's not being done, as Red said. There's a
Yeah.
legal way to do it. And our amnesty situation is just blown out of
Yeah.
proportion. That needs to
Well,
get, and as
I mean, I think
Trump did say he was going to handle that instantly.
yeah, he says a lot of things.
Oh,
We know that.
Lord.
We know that.
Well,
The
why?
issue
Okay.
well, okay, let me back up. The 14 million people I referenced that were undocumented
Yes, back
people that
in
lived in
yes.
this country before he became president, guess what he did about them?
What?
Nothing.
So you're saying there was
What I'm
14
talking
million.
about is people that have established relationships
Yes.
inside this country, have
Yes.
children, send them to
Yes.
school, have jobs, have been working, et cetera, et cetera. Those type of people might as well be American citizens. That's a fairly easy group to get off the books of illegals in this country. Fairly easy. And I don't also like the definition between illegal and undocumented and all that crap. We're so PC. Listen, they're not American citizens. They came over to the country illegally. Call it whatever the fuck you want to call it.
But they've
I
been
don't
living here for
care.
14 years, and
If you've
they've
been
been
living here
paying.
for a
Yeah.
long period of time and you're working and you're paying taxes and all this other crap,
Okay.
quit issuing the visas and make them American citizens already.
Exactly.
And I don't even give a shit if they speak English because I can speak Spanish. So to hell with it.
So if they so on your argument. So if we have allegedly, let's just say 10, 14 million people here that been here over 10 years, and they've been working, and they have had visas or they haven't, and there's a lot of them that are still undocumented within those 10, 14 million people that I know that have worked for people in California or blah 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 blah.
Correct.
I mean, that are still living the life and not paying taxes. There needs to be a whole new system that needs to be done, checked, become citizens. I don't care how long you've been here. We're still
Yep.
paying for all of that. A lot of this shit will change. It's not going to happen in overnight or in 4 years, but it's an implementation that needs to start so you can start following it and have it happen. You know what I mean? There needs to be a
I mean,
regiment.
there's got to be something, and you cannot allow your border to
Do you just
be
shove all those people out? No, I think the
unprotected.
people there's people there within those 14 that are not documented, that haven't been for 14 years, and then there is a handful of them that are visaed, whatever, that are just hanging there. Those are the people that need to be have attention first. Let's fix that, fix the people that aren't, and then the people that are coming across the border needs to end. Yes.
Well, and that's the
And
worst
have the
thing.
amnesty thing in control.
That's the worst thing, to be honest, is they know I say they, but people that have no intention of doing anything the right way know that we're not going to uproot families and send them home.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. How can
Because
you?
that's not what this country is about.
Again, if you're going to stay here, if
in
we
2024.
catch you, become American citizen then. They have a choice.
Yeah, and that's my deal.
Okay.
That's it, and that's just how I feel. And again, it doesn't make it right, it doesn't make it wrong. But I know that immigration is going to take front and center. I also think we're going to see some serious shenanigans here, like you do. And
okay,
I guess we'll be
we're
back.
kind of seeing the same thing, and we're going to come back
of
after
November.
Yep,
Well, no,
November 5th.
I told you they're going to fix the son of a bitch. The fix is in for somebody, and I don't think his name is Donald Trump. Oh yeah, I said it, and I don't care.
Whoa.
I'm not on Epstein's list, and I never got invited to a Diddy party, so I ain't worried about those people.
Never been to a Diddy party. Never been to a Diddy party. Never got to meet Epstein or been on his island. I can honestly say that. Let's see. I can say that I do share something in common with Trump, which only maybe 1% of people do. And that
Good way to close it down. Tell us, Medusa.
We're both Hall of Famers.
There we go.
Ba-boom! And on that note, guys,
Hall of Famers.
Hall of Famers. That's right. So on that note, guys, again, I want to thank you. Red thanks you. The fact checker mods thank you. And I thank everybody out there for being very cool, being honest, putting it out there. And we are going to circle back, as they say, and on this great topic. of whoever our new president is going to be.
Because there will
Right?
be a new president-elect come November 5th.
Yeah. We don't know if we'll have internet after that to have this discussion.
Florida's wild. Ah,
Wait, there might not be an election, though. There might not be an election.
Hmm.
What
Are
if
you
there
going there?
is? What if this
Oh no, I thought we were done.
No, okay. What if we are done? What if we declare World War III? Then there isn't an election,
Hmm.
right? Is that true? You can do.
Then
I
I
mean, it doesn't mean we go full blown War III, but all they have to do is say World War III. Here we are, and there's no election.
the good
That's
news
one way. That's
is
one way to keep Trump out of office.
the good news is
What?
that I live by Matthew chapter 6 verse 34. Don't
Oh,
worry about tomorrow, for today brings its own trouble. So on
you
that
are
note,
trouble. On that note, trouble. You are
I love
trouble. Feet. We need a T-shirt with big red and then just feet prints.
no,
Do you have your
not
baby
happening.
picture of feet?
Maybe somewhere.
Okay, I want to see them.
Maybe somewhere.
I want to make sure you're a true American.
I'm going to
Are they pigeon?
I'm going to
Are you
RSVP to this
pigeon-toed?
RSVP to this party as pending. Okay, pending. That's all
Okay,
I'm saying.
that'd be great. That'd be that would be good. Pending. All right, guys.
Pending.
On that note, again, thank you so much for tuning in to another great show of Trash Talk.
See y'all.